This is a presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the Oklahoma Sports Network's consent is prohibited. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be used without express written consent.
Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of the OSN Game of the Week. It's a double dip tonight on the Oklahoma Sports Network. We're back at the scene of the Titan Classic. We just can't get enough of this place. Carl Albert Fieldhouse for a doubleheader tonight. Piedmont and Carl Albert, both ends of this matchup. We've got them for you as the girls will get started. It's a top 10 matchup in both girls and boys tonight. Top of the line basketball from the class of 5A, and we have it for you all evening long here on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Josh Galloway with you. No Jordan Ray with me this time. He's doing his own thing. We have double barrel action tonight on OSN. He's on the broadcast for Midwest City, Dell City. So we've got all the Mid-Dell schools covered in one night for you. So that's going to be double barrel action. So go ahead and get out your phone, get out your computer, get out your iPad, whatever, and get a second line of action going because that's that kind of night here across the great state of Oklahoma. As we're on the back end of this season now, folks. The tournaments are over. We had the Titan Classic here last week, which I'll recap a little bit in just a second. Everybody's playing their own class now. There's no funny business with 4A teams playing 2A teams or even 6A teams playing 5A teams. It's straight, important, your own class getting set up for the postseason the rest of the way. That's the kind of spot we're at in the season. Obviously, the calendar shifts to February here coming up pretty soon. So we're in the meaty part of the season. We have just a handful of Game of the Week broadcasts left, and we're excited to bring you what should be a great doubleheader tonight. We had Piedmont on the Game of the Week earlier in the season when they hosted Tuttle at their place. That was a split night for them. Obviously, Carl Albert hasn't actually been featured on the Game of the Week just yet, although they've been on OSN obviously several times. Their game against Midwest City, me and Jordan had to call for that one back in December. And obviously, like I just mentioned a minute ago, we had the entire Titan Classic for you last week where both Carl Albert teams came up just short, were runners-up in their home tournament, falling to a pair of really good 6A teams. The girls to Edmond Memorial, the number 2 team in 6A, and, of course, the boys to Putnam City North, the number 3 team in 6A. Jordan and I had the call for that, both those semifinals and those championships last week, and it was a great event, a great tournament, and we're hoping for more of similar action tonight, both with Midwest City, Dell City, with Jordan and his crew, and then here here in Carl Albert Fieldhouse for this matchup between the Titans and the Wildcats. Like we said, it's a top 10 matchup in both classes. Piedmont girls are number 7 in 5A. Carl Albert number 2 in 5A. As you can see, we'll have the boys game later. We'll dive more into that one when we get there. But this matchup's going to be interesting here for this Piedmont Carl Albert, our first game here on the girls' side of things. Neither team is overly big. They're both, don't have any. There's no Landry Allens on either of these teams. There's nobody who's coming in and throwing a 6'4", 6'5" at you. A lot of players that are underneath 6 feet in this game for both teams. So it's going to be very interesting to see that kind of style matchup of two teams that are kind of similar in that regard. They kind of play around their size, but they don't have to worry about it today. So who can win the rebounding battle, that kind of interesting things will be a lot of fun to see as we see the Piedmont Wildcats and the Carl Albert Lady Titans getting ready to mix it up here on OSN. We're going to step aside here for the anthem. We're going to come back. We'll have the lineups, and we'll have the basketball for you. Carl Albert and Piedmont Game of the Week doubleheader action coming up for you next right here on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
When I'm flying, I put my helmet on, my visor down, my mask up. You don't know who I am. Whether I'm African American, Asian American, Hispanic, white, male or female. You just know I'm an American Airman, kicking your butt. I'm General C.Q. Brown, Jr. Come join us.
We come from different backgrounds, with diverse interests and unique learning styles. Finding classes that fit your individual needs isn't a challenge at Cameron University. A small campus and dedicated faculty ensures there's always someone close by to guide you on your journey. Your success is our success. Your education is our mission. At Cameron University, you're not a number, you're part of the family.
All right, back here at Carl Albert Fieldhouse, just about ready to get this thing going. Starting lineups here first for the Piedmont Lady Wildcats. Number 2 is Chloe Carr. She's a 5'6 senior. Number 12 is Riley Burnett, a 5'8 sophomore. Number 15 is Jillian Crawford, a 5'9 senior. Number 23 is Macy Lee. She's a 5'6 senior. Then rounding it out, number 24, Ella Watkins, is a 5'10 senior. The Wildcats, as the lights go out on me here, are coached by Eric Carr. Mentioned the number 7 in 5A. And 11-6 on the season. Do also mention real quick here, can't forget, I got a lot of sponsored elements tonight. This is a Mid-Dell broadcast. We're making sure to get our Mid-Dell sponsors in. Certain lineups presented by Louis in Midwest City. Big fan of Louis in Midwest City, gotta say. (6007) Southeast 15th Street, Midwest City, Louis. We're in your neighborhood. They're our starting lineup sponsor for Mid-Dell basketball on the Oklahoma Sports Network. So we're sure to get them in. Even though this is a Game of the Week broadcast, go ahead and shout them out. Why not? It's still obviously a Mid-Dell game for you. Starting lineups here for the Titans. Number 12 is Skylar Anderson. She's a 5'8 freshman. Number 20 is Ariana Diaz, a 5'5 senior. Number 21 is Cameron Sutton, a 5'6 senior. She went ballistic in the Titan Classic title game from 3. 7 threes in the first half in that game. She went nuts, basically, for a long story short there. Number 22 is Kendi Kofer. She's a 5'3 senior. And then Asha Moore, number 24, a 5'9 junior, rounds it out. The Titans are coached by Kyle Ritchie. Mentioned they're number 2 in 5A and come into play tonight with a 14-2 record. It's been a very strong season, certainly a team hoping to contend for a championship this year. We're excited to have you with us for this edition of the OSN Game of the Week. It's a doubleheader night. Don't always get doubleheaders, obviously. Last week was just a one-off with Newcastle and tow. We'll have doubleheader tonight. We're planning a doubleheader for next Tuesday as well. I'll talk about that more later on in the broadcast, but we're excited to be here for some double barrel action with doubleheader tonight, and then also over on the other channel with Midwest City and Del City in action tonight. Tip is off and won by the Wildcats, and we're playing basketball here on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Piedmont with the ball first, and our first quarter presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, where every day is game day. Mid-range jumper there does not go for Burnett, and it's an empty trip to start the game for Piedmont. Mention again, we had Piedmont in the Game of the Week a couple of weeks ago, and they hosted Tuttle at their place, as Moore's three in the corner doesn't go. They're a really good squad. Now, they fell to Tuttle that night, did the girls team here, these later Wildcats, but they proved that their game, they're a really good squad, and excited to see what they can do, obviously, against the cream of the crop, really, in 5A, right up there, anyway, in Carl Albert. Missed shot, but a second chance here. Lends out to Carr for three, doesn't go. Another offensive rebound for Piedmont, so buy them another opportunity. Kick out, left wing three ball, Clackamas. First three of the night comes from Jillian Crawford, and Piedmont strikes first. It's 3-0 Wildcats. There's Ariana Diaz in the corner to Moore. Moore trying to get some room off the right block here. Oop, trying to kick it out to Diaz and was wide of the mark. That was a good job there by Ella Watkins for Piedmont, not really giving her anywhere to go. Backed her down and forced the turnover there. If you're just tuning in, Josh Calloway with you. This is the OSN Game of the Week. Ileana Berryhill working the camera for us tonight. Again, no Jordan, but he's not because he's not working. That guy doesn't take days off. He's got Midwest City, Dale City tonight, elsewhere on OSN. So again, get the second screen out, hang out with us. Had just a full night of hoops on a Friday night in January, the last Friday of January, as a matter of fact. As like I said, season kind of, we're hitting the home stretch now. Three ball in the left wing is almost banked home, though. Got her own miss, though, did Watkins. Kick out, open three, Clackamas again. That's Crawford again. So Jillian Crawford, early leader in the clubhouse, or player of the game. She's got two very early threes. And how do you like this start for Piedmont on the road, leading 6-0? And I mentioned also, if you're a Carl Albert fan, you know this, but if you're just tuning in from Piedmont, I mentioned the Titans were runners-up in the Titan Classic last week. It's their first game since, so they've had almost a week off as more shot doesn't go. So they should be rested, but you also wonder, maybe a little bit of a hangover after you were so close to that big statement win over Edmond Memorial. Didn't happen, lost by 6. And now you're back to it almost a week later at home as a missed three there, clean up offensive rebound opportunity, almost put back home for Crawford, but it's an empty trip. Titans back to the way, still looking for their first points. Here's Diaz at the top. Hands it off to Anderson. Skylar Anderson, a really talented freshman for the Titans, drives the lane and puts it home. And Carl Albert is on the board for the first time. 6-2, about 2.5 minutes in here on the Oklahoma Sports Network Game of the Week. A doubleheader action. We got the boys game coming up for you next. That's another top 10 tilt. Anytime it's a top 10 tilt in both girls and boys, it's hard to ignore for us, hard to turn down. We have that potentially lined up for you next Tuesday as well. Not quite top 10, but top 12. And again, I'll talk about that more a little bit later. We're hoping weather is friendly for us on that one. We'll talk about that more later on in the evening. As Piedmont with it, they're up 6-2. Right wing started driving, now we'll back out. This is Crawford at those first 2 threes. She gives it up to Lee, and she'll back down and reset things for the Wildcats. Here's Lee going to her left. Anderson almost tripped there. Handed off to Watkins. Watkins over to Carr, mentioned daughter of head coach Eric Carr. Back to the top, Crawford. She'll drive just inside left elbow off the back iron, couldn't get it. Put back attempt, it'll roll home for Watkins. Really nicely done there by Watkins, cleaning up the glass and putting that one home. Makes it 8-2 Piedmont as we near the midway point of the first quarter. A really good start for the Wildcats on the road. 3 ball for Sutton Clackamas. So there you go. I mean, we mentioned it right at the top of the broadcast. If you weren't with us for the Titan Classic, first off, you missed a great event. But second off, Cameron Sutton went ballistic in the championship game last Saturday night against Edmond Memorial. 7 threes as that 3 ball there for Carr doesn't go. And just like that, the Titans have a chance to potentially tie this thing up. Here's Diaz, hands it off to Kofer. Back to Diaz. She's got the freshman Anderson guarding her. For the freshman guarding senior here. Maybe an advantageous matchup for Piedmont, or for Carl Albert, I should say. We'll keep an eye on that as we go. Here is Anderson. Long pass over to Moore. Moore on the right wing. Trying to get some room for defender. She's guarded there by Lee. Hands it out to Sutton. You got to stay close on her. Crawford doing just that. You can't let Sutton shoot from deep as she'll knock it down more often than not. Anderson is fouled, and she'll head to the free throw line. Be our first chance to thank the Rose State College for the Rose State charity stripe, as Skylar Anderson will be doing just that. Looking for a university experience while staying close to home, look no further than Rose State College. With over 60-degree options, on-campus housing, and transfer agreements with all Oklahoma universities, Rose State College will jumpstart your college education. Apply today at rose.edu. Also want to make sure we thank our 3-ball sponsor, Bobby Lewis Insurance. Surprisingly great rates with 2 locations to serve you in Choctaw and Del City. Bobby Lewis Insurance, our 3-point sponsor. as both of the free throws go down, so make it 8-7. Good start to this one. Nice competitive start. Piedmont came out with the first punch, but Carl Albert has responded. Here's Lee for three. That's going to go off the side of the rim. No rebound, ripped down by Moore. And the Titans on a little mini 5-0 run here, and they can take their first lead with a bucket here. Here's Moore on the right wing. Starts to drive. He'll spin it out. On the block, lost it. It'll go out of bounds. And that's a turnover. Good defense there by a couple of Wildcats. Just in the game came Kaylee Marshall. She's a 5'9" senior, number 11 there, was on defense, as well as Macy Lee offering some assistance. Mentioned the Wildcats 11-6 on the season coming into play tonight. They are fresh off a loss last week in the Newcastle tournament to Edmond Santa Fe in overtime. So both these teams are trying to bounce back from tough losses to good 6A teams, as that turnaround shot is up and good. And what a start here for Piedmont offensively, as they have 10 early points here in the opening frame. If you weren't with us, that Piedmont Tuttle tilt a couple of weeks ago at Wildcats Athletic Center, it was 4-0 at the end of the first quarter. It was not a lot of points being spread around that night, at least early. It picked up, but obviously a much faster paced start here this time. Here is Moore in the corner. She'll pump fake, wants to drive the baseline, got around her defender. Can't quite put it home, though. It's a great move to get around Carr, but then couldn't cap it off. So an empty trip there. Wildcats have it going back to the way, up by 3. Nice pass in the lane, and Crawford puts it home. Crawford is lighting it up early as the feed there to her from Burnett, and it's 12-7 Wildcats. Here's Sutton for 3. That's going to go off the front of the rim. You wondered if she was going to get off to as hot of a start as she did last Saturday. Hit that early one. Misses there, though. Wildcats ahead by 5. This is the first quarter of the first game of our OSN Game of the Week doubleheader tonight. Piedmont and Carl Albert have both ends of it for you. Here's a mid-range jumper for Crawford. Boy, she is just sizzling out of the gates here. The 2 threes and now multiple buckets from inside the three-point arc. And Piedmont doubling up early. That's an offensive foul. First foul called against Carl Albert. Piedmont had one earlier. And now Coach Ritchie will go to his bench and get in some youngsters. You get Audrey Plunkett, the 5'11 freshman who was really good in that Titan Classic last week. You also get 23 Essence Curry into the game, as well as 15 Jakari Brown. All 3 of these players are freshmen coming off the bench for Carl Albert. So future's certainly bright for this Titans team, which is already obviously darn good. The current is bright as well, number 2 ranked team in 5A currently. But tell you what, right now Piedmont can't ask for a much better start than what they've gotten here for Coach Carr. Here's Crawford again. This time she won't get it. Floater comes up short, knocked loose, and it's picked up by Brown. The Titans start the break. Down by 7, trying to work their way back in it a little bit here as we near the final minute of the first quarter. Here's Curry. Goes to her right, kick out, and a little high there as it goes over the head of Sutton, and a turnover. Piedmont defensively doing a lot to like right now. They've not made anything come easy for the Titans. You had Sutton burn you once when she got loose for an open 3, but for the most part, everything's been pretty hard-earned so far for the Titans. See if Coach Ritchie and Carl Albert can make some adjustments as we go. Driving the lane here, went all the way to the rim but couldn't finish it there, did Burnett. Rebound was almost pulled in by Marshall, but it is scooped up by Diaz, and the Titans start the break, trying to cut into this deficit a little bit. And that'll help. A foul picked up there. Diaz drew it. I don't see who it's on. Looks like it's going to go on Anderson. That's her first. Lily Anderson, that is, for the Wildcats who came in off the bench. Second foul on the Wildcats, and back to the free throw line in the Rose State charity stripe. Goes Ariana Diaz trying to work her way, work the Titans' way back into this game. First free throw's up and good. Second free throw on the way for Ariana Diaz, and she rattles it home. So that'll do when your offense is struggling a little bit. You get to the line and you knock it down. So make it 14-9 as we enter the final 30 seconds of this first quarter. We'll see if Piedmont wants to hold for the final shot here or if they'll just go ahead and go. I've seen less and less of that this season. It's been kind of odd. Teams just don't seem too interested in holding, and it doesn't look like Piedmont's really into that right now either. We'll see what ends up happening here, but they're looking pretty aggressive. Here's Anderson. She gives it up to Crawford. Crawford going down the lane, and she lost it. And it's an offensive foul. Bowling over her defender there. Crawford a little out of control. An offensive foul, third foul against Piedmont, and it's a turnover. So Carl Albert, there you go. They're going to get a possession out of this. And it's so strange because it felt like to me, doing high school basketball, in the state for several seasons now, it was automatic. A team with 30 seconds left, you're going to hold it every time. This season, not really. Teams have just been going after it this year. Been very different. 5 seconds left here in the quarter. We'll see what Carl Albert does. Here's Kofer. 2 seconds. Got to put it up. Feed off to Anderson. She'll go ahead and fire. Was aware of the clock. Give her credit for that, but shot doesn't go. And that's the end of the first quarter. A good start for Piedmont on the road. They lead at 14-9 over Carl Albert. Second quarter next right here on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others. Join the fight.
Back to Carl Albert Fieldhouse. Josh Calloway with you for this OSN Game of the Week doubleheader action for you on a Friday night in Midwest City. Thank our second quarter sponsors. We get ready to get going here. Super Subs. We have Buffalo Wild Wings. Now we got Super Subs. We got all your food handled for you. Super Subs, home of the steak bomb sandwich, locally owned and operated for over 20 years. 2150 South Douglas Boulevard in Midwest City. Give them a call if you want. 405-733-5440. Yes, we're back to action here in the second quarter. Good start for Piedmont on the road. A 14-9 lead. We'll see what happens here in quarter number 2. Here's Moore in the corner for the Titans. On the right block, she'll back it out. Ariana Diaz for 3 and air balls. Boy, don't see Ariana Diaz miss shots both ways. That open that often or by that much? As that one airballed off to the left there. Great angle of it here from our spot high above the court at beautiful Carl Albert Fieldhouse, one of the best gyms in the state. It's wonderful here. If you haven't been here before, recommend it. Great place, taking some good high-level high school basketballs. Obviously, you know you're getting that if Carl Albert's playing. Piedmont, though, game here early in this first game. 14-9 lead. Clark for deep 3, doesn't go. Rebound is loose and ends up back in the hands of the Wildcats. So we mentioned that right off the top. Neither team here is that big. Nobody has a lot of height, but Piedmont winning that rebound battle. Here's a bad air ball. Saved by Sutton and a stop there, so an offensive rebound finally there or defensive rebound, I should say, there for the Titans. Piedmont getting lots of second chances, though. And now another turnover force. Another thing we're seeing a lot of. Piedmont is playing with a lot of very active hands defensively. They force another turnover there. And Piedmont, with a 5-point lead, has the ball back. Here's Lee. She'll fire up an open 3 from the left wing. Not going to go up the side of the rim. Almost spoke too soon. That thing rolled around for a while, but long rebound comes out. Moore's going to run this down for the Titans. Here's Aja Moore all the way to the rim, and she puts it in. And the Titans are back within 3. So Carl Albert doing a nice job, despite not playing their best, certainly by any measure, just kind of mucking this thing up and hanging tough. Now down by just 1 possession again. Here's Carr for 3 back the other way. Not going to go too much on it. Rebound pulled in by Sutton, and the Titans can tie it with a 3 ball. Kofer thought about it and said she'll back it out, and the Titans will set up some offense. Here's Moore in the corner, guarded by Carr. Decent size difference there. Moore's got 3 inches on her, 5'9" to 5'6". Moore pulls up from the elbow. Cash put that one down. It's a 6-0 run for the Titans, and they're down just 1 on their home floor here at Carl Albert Fieldhouse. Back the other way, here goes Crawford, who had that really hot start. She's cool off a little bit now. Watkins open 3, back iron, no. Rebound, though, another offensive rebound for the Wildcats. They can't cash it in, but they will get another possession out of this as it goes out of bounds. Last touch by Carl Albert. So that's easily going to be the biggest thing that Coach Ritchie is going to want to talk about with his team at the locker room, is finding a way to limit the offensive rebounds, because right now Piedmont is kind of piling them up. 5:39 left to play in the first half. Wildcats with a 3rd chance on this possession right here. This is Anderson with it. She gives it up to Lee. Now we got whistles. And it's going to be a foul against Carl Albert away from the ball. Just the second foul against Carl Albert. For the most part, it's been a pretty clean game on that front. Just the 5th total foul so far in this game. On the floor, it was charged there against Kofor. That's her first. Wildcats retain possession up by 1. Pass here right side. Watkins open 3. Clackums. Bury that one, and that's just what the doctor ordered. A bit of a dry spell offensively for Piedmont. And a senior stepping up, hitting a big shot. Ella Watkins does just that. Piedmont ahead by 4. Here's more with it for the Titans. Pass goes off the hands of Kofor. She can't save it. That's an over and back, and a turnover. It's been a very streaky game so far in the first 11 minutes. As you've seen the Titans kind of seem like they're finding their footing a little bit, working their way back in it, kind of doing what they do. But then Piedmont, finds a way to get a big shot, force another turnover too, and then it feels like they're back in control. It's been very kind of up and down that way so far. Here still in the early going. Under 5 to play in the first half. Here's Lee at the top for Piedmont, trying to get some room off of Plunkett. Pass down on the left elbow to Crawford. Turnaround shot. That won't roll home. Rebound is scooped in by Plunkett. Good defense there by the Titans. Get a big stop. Carl Albert back the other way, trying to find some consistent momentum offensively, some kind of a rhythm. This is a team that can put up some pretty good point totals. Just 67 last Saturday in their last game against Evan Memorial. 3 ball here doesn't go. That was Brown on that shot, and they're sitting on 13 right now, nearing the midway point of the second quarter. Very unlike what we're used to seeing from the Titans. So Piedmont gets another stop. And we'll have it going back the other way, up by 4. This is Burnett bringing it up. A sophomore for Coach Carr in the Wildcats. She'll dish it out to Crawford in the corner, hit those 2 early threes, supplemented it with a few more buckets. She'll give it up to Lee here for 3, no. Rebound pulled down by Moore. So another empty trip. Defenses have kind of started to buckle down here. Offense kind of hard to come by right now for both teams as we hit the midway point of the second. Kofor trying to get some room off her defender in Burnett. Gives it up to Plunkett, who again was really good off the bench in the Titan Classic last week, and we're going to have a foul here called against Piedmont. It looks like it will be on the shot, so send Plunkett to the Rose State charity stripe. 4th foul against Piedmont, and Audrey Plunkett will shoot a pair here and miss the first one. And, sound like a broken record, something I say pretty much every game, it seems like, if you're with us often on the OSN Game of the Week. But when you're struggling for offense, getting to the line is a great idea, but it doesn't mean diddly if you don't make your free throws when you're there. Plunkett does split the trip, makes it once again a 1-possession game, 17-14 with 3:50 to play in the first half. Here's Crawford walking it up for the Wildcats. Gives it up to Watkins. Hit that big shot earlier. Back to Crawford for 3. Back iron, no. Rebound comes out to Anderson, and Carl Albert can once again tie this game up with a 3-ball. Here's Anderson coming down the floor. She'll back now. Good job by Crawford, kind of crash it down on her lane there. Anderson with it, gives it off to Plunkett. 3:24 and counting to play in the first half. Back to Moore. Right side Curry with it. One of those stud up-and-coming freshmen for the Titans off the bench. Curry crossover move. Driving, kick out in the corner to our fellow freshman Brown for 3. Clackums. A Bobby Lewis 3-ball in a big spot. That was really well done. And we are all tied up 17 apiece entering the final 3 minutes of the first half. And if I'm Piedmont, I'm not thrilled with that because it feels like they've had the upper hand in this first half, but it isn't bearing out that way on the scoreboard, 17 apiece. Wildcats with it. Right side, this is Lee. In the corner, Watkins now, guarded by Plunkett as we near the midway point of the ball game at half. Gives it up to Crawford. Good defense there by Plunkett. Left side to Anderson. Now over to Watkins. Piedmont trying to figure out where they want to go for some offense here. Burnett will take a long 2 and airball it. Bad shot there. Pulled in by Anderson, and the Titans can take their first lead of the night right here on the other end. 2:19 and counting to play in the first half. Here's Moore, right wing. Gives it up to the top, Brown. Now over to Curry. She'll fire from real deep. Essence, Curry Clackums. Are you serious? From way deep, she puts it down. And the Titans have got their first lead on a Bobby Lewis 3-ball from way deep from the freshman. And it's 20-17 Titans. 2:02 to play in the first half. We have a timeout here taken by Piedmont. It's a short one, just 30 seconds. We'll stick here through the timeout here, just a short break. But what a run here for Carl Albert, where it seemed like Piedmont was starting to find their footing. A great start to this game, but didn't matter. Titans found a way to get it going offensively. Now here they are sitting up here with a couple minutes to play before halftime with a lead. Josh Callaway with you. Ileana Berryhill working the camera for us tonight here on the OSN Game of the Week. Doubleheader action of the boys up next for you as the number 1 team in 5A, the Carl Albert Titans, host the number 10 Piedmont Wildcats. Should be a fun ball game to watch. The one time we saw Piedmont earlier this year in the Game of the Week, they beat Tuttle in their building. So that should be fun to see what they can do tonight against the so fast, so big, so athletic Carl Albert Titans. Should be a lot of fun coming up in the second half of our doubleheader. Back to it here, final 2 minutes of the first half. See what Piedmont can get going as they've hit a dry spell offensively, and Carl Albert has capitalized on it to take a 3-point lead. Left side, here's Crawford. Can she get re-hot? There she goes. Clackamas Crawford, another Bobby Lewis 3-ball, and we're back even at 20 apiece. Third 3 of the game for Crawford. I mean, she's kind of been Piedmont's offense so far in this game. She is hitting shots from everywhere in this first half. And we're tied back up 20-20. Here's Diaz, other side for the Titans. Kick out in the corner to Sutton. Good defense there by Burnett, not giving her anywhere to go. Sutton feeds off to Curry, hit the 3 earlier. This time she'll put it on the floor. Sizing up her defender in Watkins, she'll give it up. That's freshman on senior there, Curry with Watkins guarding her. Big screen set by Moore. And she gets the basketball now as we hit the final minute. Lost it. Watkins pokes it away. It's a steal. What a play by Ella Watkins, just picking her pocket. And the Wildcats have a fast break. Great save by Crawford to avoid the turnover. Gave it back to her. Long pass to Carr for a 3. Clackamas. Bobby Lewis 3-ball, and it puts Piedmont back in the lead by 3. What a sequence there for the Wildcats. The defense to offense. Other way, Sutton for 3 won't go. Rebound loose on the floor. Diving after, we're going to get a jump ball, and the arrow gives it to Piedmont. Boy, what a good job by Coach Carr's team here getting off the mat. I mean, just the reverse of what we were just saying in that last break. Piedmont seemed to have the upper hand, but it didn't matter. Titans found it. They got their lead. Looked like they kind of, okay, this is going to be what Carl Albert does to a lot of people. But then all of a sudden, Piedmont, a couple of big shots, a couple of big stops defensively, and they should have a chance here to take a lead in a half if they hold it. But again, going back to the previous conversation, teams haven't really been as willing to hold it as of late, although Piedmont looks to be in no rush here. See what they do, though, with 15 seconds to play in the half. This is Crawford, who's had a great first half for Piedmont. Driving the lane, kick it out. Round the horn, 5 seconds. Card's going to fire the 3. Clackamas! 9-0 run for the Wildcats to close the half. You can't ask for much more than that. What a finish to the first half for Piedmont. 3 threes, and they take a 6-point lead into the halftime locker room. Great stuff for Coach Carr's team and for Coach Ritchie, a spot that they're not in very often. At a half, down, at home, they're going to have to figure out, make some adjustments in this second half. All right, we're going to take a timeout here. We'll come back. Stream's not going anywhere, obviously. We'll let the halftime festivities go on here. We'll rejoin you as we get ready for the second half here in just a little bit. 26-20, Piedmont in the lead on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Game of the Week.
Sidelined by surgery, illness, injury? Valor Physical Therapy can help. At Valor PT, our skilled therapists create a rehabilitation program individualized for you, with education and encouragement each step of the way. Whether it's sports or the activities of life, let Valor get you back in the game. Start now at 405-265-6449. No referral needed. Mention Oklahoma Sports Network and get a free t-shirt at your first appointment.
When it comes to your home, you need someone that you can trust to keep it safe and protected for you and your family.
Vesta Foundation Solutions is your local, family-owned company that has helped many homeowners fix and protect their homes.
Our engineered solutions can take care of all of your foundation repair, basement waterproofing, concrete leveling, and dirt crawl space repair needs.
We take pride in getting the job done right, and you'll always be protected with up to a 75-year warranty.
Contact us today for a free estimate.
When I'm flying, I put my helmet on, my visor down, my mask up. You don't know who I am. Whether I'm African American, Asian American, Hispanic, white, male or female. You just know I'm an American Airman, kicking your butt. I'm General C.Q. Brown Jr. Come join us.
Back with you on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Josh Calloway with you for the OSN Game of the Week. Just about ready to get the third quarter started. Piedmont leads Carl Albert here in our first game, 26-20. Well, we have a minute. I want to let you know that we do have our next game of the week pinned down. Next Tuesday night, we'll be in Choctaw. Putnam City West at Choctaw. It's going to be another doubleheader night for you as you see number 3 versus number 8 in girls, number 12 versus number 5 in boys. That's what we have up for you next Tuesday night. 6 o'clock tip for the girls, 7:30 for the boys. Jordan Ray will rejoin me for that one, so we'll get to have one last big doozy in the month of January. That should be a great doubleheader. A couple of teams we've never seen on the Game of the Week. We've never been to Choctaw. We've never had either team featured. So that's something brand new for us next Tuesday night. Looking forward to that, getting over there to Choctaw and seeing those programs. That should be a lot of fun. Now, the disclaimer here, of course, if you check the weather forecast, some weather is moving in the early part of next week. Some icy conditions potentially moving into the early part of next week. So we'll see, I guess, for lack of a better term. We'll see what happens. There's a decent chance that game does not happen as scheduled. If it gets pushed back, the plan is to still do it, whether it's on Thursday or what have you. But obviously keep up with us on Oklahoma Sports Network, and we'll let you know if that game is indeed happening as scheduled. But as for now, that's our tentative plan next Tuesday night. Jordan Ray and I will have that one for you on the OSN Game of the Week. We're excited about that. That should be a fun game. A couple of fun games next Tuesday. So we're just about ready to get going here in this second half. It was a good first half, and Piedmont, I'll tell you what, they came out. They were the aggressors in the early part of this game, and then they responded after Carl Albert went on a run to take the lead. Thought, okay, here's the Titans that we know this is what they do. They settled back in and hit 3 threes to end the half, a 9-0 run into the locker room to have a 6-point lead as we open up the second half. Titans with the first possession. 3-ball doesn't go here in the corner for Sutton. And it's a stop for Piedmont, who are working on a little bit of a road upset here. Still got some time to go, though. 3-ball in the corner doesn't fall for Macy Lee. And it's an empty trip for the Wildcats. Back to the way go the Titans down the floor. And drawing the foul is Anderson. Into the Rose State charity stripe goes the freshman Skylar Anderson. Foul's called on Chloe Card. That's her first, obviously the first foul of the second half. Do want to thank our third quarter sponsor, which is Dynamic Health Clinic. This quarter brought to you by Dynamic Health Clinic in Harrah, Oklahoma. At Dynamic Health Clinic, Dr. Kaufman specializes in athletic injuries and is able to get athletes back in action very quickly using a system called Advanced Muscle Integration. Play better, recover faster at Dynamic Health Clinic. They were a big sponsor of the Titan Classic here on OSN as well. So we appreciate them helping us bring you Middale basketball this year on OSN. And again, this is a game of the week, but we got a Middale team. We might as well get our Middale sponsors a shout out as a nice ball movement leads to an easy lay-in there for Watkins. And the Wildcats are back ahead by 6. Just kind of punch, counter punch all night for Piedmont. 3-ball on the right wing does not go for Kofer. An empty trip there for the Titans. Can Carl Albert find a way to rally? You wondered, as the 3-ball here for Macy Lee rattles in and out, you wondered if there would be any kind of hangover from the Titan Classic. And I know it was almost a week ago, but still, it's a big home tournament. You had a big boy game against Emmett Memorial as Moore drives the lane and draws a foul and one. That'll help things if you're the Titans. You had a big game to finish that thought against Emmett Memorial. You had certainly a chance to win it. You're right in it to the end. Bulldogs just make a few more plays down the stretch and you lose. It's not a team you necessarily should beat by any means. A top 2 team in the class above you, but still, you let that kind of hang over you for a little while. You have some bad weather. Schools canceled a couple days this week. Could there be any kind of a funk coming into tonight? I think was a big question. And Piedmont's played well. Don't want to take away from the Wildcats, but the Titans haven't seemed to have quite the same edge for a lot of this game either, but they're still right there, down just 3 right now after being down 6 at the break. We'll see what they can do the rest of the way here. Here's Crawford, had a huge first half. She lost that one out of bounds. They're going to say that's Titans ball. I think that's a friendly call for Carl Albert because that looked like it went off of the face there. I think that was Sutton who took that one right off the schnoz. Luckily she's all right, but maybe got away with one there for the Titans. I think that's what Coach Carr is saying to the officials. It's back with the other side. Titans again down 1 score when they have the ball. Here's Ariana Diaz. Backing out her defender. She'll hand it off to Kofer. Kofer back to Diaz. She'll line up a 3-ball for the tie. Off the front of the rim, no good. Rebound ripped down by Moore. She has it poked away and stolen by Carr. But I've been so impressed with Piedmont defensively. Their active hands in this game. Nothing's ever safe for Carl Albert. There's been lots of poking away, getting into pass lanes. Give them a lot of credit for that. Other way, here's Burnett for Piedmont with the Wildcats ahead by 3. The number 7 team in 5A trying to pull off a road upset over number 2 Carl Albert. Still got a long way to go, but they've had a lot of the ingredients so far. Here's Watkins. This is Lee, with it for Piedmont. She gives it up to Crawford. Crawford with 3 first-half threes. Feeds off to Carr. Clack'ems! Chloe Carr with a Bobby Lewis 3-ball. And again, every time the Titans seem to maybe have things swinging in their favor, Piedmont responds with a big shot. There's another one as Carr puts it down, and the Wildcats are back ahead by 6. Final 5 of the third. Here's Aja Moore with it. Guarded by Burnett, trying to get around her. Got some room at the free throw line. Kick out in the corner. Open shot for Kofer. She'll give it up to Sutton. Sutton feeds off to Diaz. Diaz will drive the lane here, taking some contact, no whistles. Shot frantically off the glass, and the Wildcats have a stop, and they're running back the other way. Here's Carr, down the lane, pulls up from the elbow, not going to go off the side of the rim. And a big miss there for the Titans' sake, because not the down 8 is insurmountable, but I want to keep this thing within reason, because the Wildcats certainly are playing with a lot of belief right now. You want to try and keep that to a minimum. Here's Kofer at the elbow, hand off to Anderson. As we close in on the midway point of the third. Anderson in the corner, good find to Diaz. She'll fire from the corner. Clack'ems again. Rattle it home for Diaz. It's another Bobby Lewis 3. And there was a loose ball foul here called against Piedmont. So give Carl Albert the shot and the foul. So they get to retain possession here. This could be potentially an extremely costly possession for Piedmont. Off the inbound, Sutton for 3. That's not going to go. So a bullet dodge there, almost up 6 and left with it tied. Good ball movement here to Watkins. Doesn't get it to go, but she is fouled. And back to the free throw line goes Ella Watkins and Piedmont. Foul is on Plunkett. That's her first, team first. Hasn't been a ton of whistles in this game. Neither team really even threatened to get to the bonus in the first half. Second half here as the missed free throw there from Watkins. Piedmont with 3 team fouls. Carl Albert has just 1. So for the most part, been a pretty free-flowing game. Watkins misses them both. Empty trip, and now the Titans have it going back the way again, down just 3. Here's Moore on the left wing. Aja Moore. Plunkett was calling for it, didn't get it. Gives it up to Kofer. Kofer is going to feed Plunkett. Backing her defender down, put it in, but it's an offensive foul. Oh boy, big call there. I thought for a moment we might be getting an old-fashioned three-point play that could have potentially tied the game. But instead it's an offensive foul, second one against Plunkett, and it goes back over to Piedmont. You can see the intensity of this game kind of ratcheting up a little bit more and more as we go here, as these teams can feel this is going to go down to the wire. 3.5 to play in the third. It's a 3-point game. OSN game of the week. We pretty much only have close games on this package here, and we have got another one here brewing. 3-point game. Here's Carr. Feeds it off to Crawford. Crawford goes to her right. Thought about it. Instead, she'll give it up. Driving the lane, having her shot blocked. It'll go out of bounds. That was Marshall who had it and was blocked from behind. Great job by the Titans crashing down on her, knocking that out of bounds. It'll stay at this end with Piedmont, who lead by 3. Good defensive play there, though, by the Titans. Here's Carr, really deep 3 on the right wing. That's not going to fall. Rebound, pinballed out, goes right to Crawford, and she knocks it down. It was the right idea, kind of batted out, but didn't really work out. It went right to Crawford, who nailed the mid-range jumper. Piedmont back ahead by 5. Curry for 3 on the other side. Rainbow 3 doesn't go, and it rebounds up and over the backboard, and so that'll be Wildcats basketball. Piedmont just doing everything they can right now to just kind of fend off the Titans. It has felt so many times in this game like Carl Albert was about to kind of go on a run, and Wildcats just haven't really let it happen. As Moore pokes that one out of bounds, it'll stay at this end, though. Good defensive play there. Some moaning and groaning from the crowd. I'm not really sure what that pertains to, or even, I can't even really tell which side it's coming from. We're set up on the Piedmont end of the gym here. Carl Albert faithful on the far side. They got a lot of contact underneath, and it's going to be a foul on the Wildcats away from the ball. And now you're starting to get some intensity picking up here. As the foul's going to go on Burnett. That's her first. 14th foul on Piedmont. You're seeing some emotion starting to pour out as these teams can feel it. This is a big game. And hey, you know, not for nothing, because I've said many times I'm a sucker for the cross-class matchups. They're a lot of fun. We feature a lot of those on the OSN Game of the Week. I love those. But when you get to this point in the season, 2 teams are highly ranked in the same class. They know that they're going to go through the other one to try and win the whole thing when it's all said and done. You feel it, and you're getting that right now as you near the final 10 minutes. Here's Moore going down the lane. What a move, and she puts it in. And it's back down to a 1-score game. We got a timeout as Moore, the lane just parted like the Red Sea. She went right to the rack and put it home. And it's a 3-point game with 2:19 to play. We got a timeout on the floor. We'll take it with them. We got a fun one here brewing on the OSN Game of the Week. Don't go anywhere. 33-30, Piedmont leads here from Midwest City.
We come from different backgrounds with diverse interests and unique learning styles. Finding classes that fit your individual needs isn't a challenge at Cameron University. A small campus and dedicated faculty ensures there's always someone close by to guide you on your journey. Your success is our success. Your education is our mission. At Cameron University, you're not a number, you're part of the family.
Back at Carl Albert Fieldhouse, Josh Calloway with you. Got a good one brewing here, folks. Carl Albert right now trails Piedmont on their home floor, 33-30, 2:19 to play in the third. Certainly still anybody's ball game at this point, as we have just a little over 10 minutes left to play. I said it jokingly, but I'm not joking. I mean, we have only had, in the 2 years of doing the Game of the Week package here on the Oklahoma Sports Network, we've had almost exclusively highly contested games. We have another one brewing here, 33-30 as we near the final 2 minutes of the third quarter. Piedmont with the ball. This is Burnett. She's guarded by Curry. Trying to get some room off her. Bounce pass here over to Crawford. Almost stumbled, but gets her footing. Back to Carr. Thought about the 3, instead she gives it up. Crawford pump fake once to the free throw line. Another fake, but hands it off to Carr once again. Piedmont trying to figure out where they want to go. How do they want to attack this Carl Albert defense? Here's Marshall being hounded by Plunkett, who's really good defensively. Curry guarding her man there, but she puts it in. Nice jumper there for Riley Burnett. And the Wildcats back ahead by 2 scores at 35-30. Piedmont, when they've needed it, have found buckets a lot tonight. Sutton for three, no good. Rebound Marshall, and just like that, Piedmont again with the ball up 5. 1:25 to go in the third. Racing ahead, here's Crawford. She'll pull it from the right block. Back iron, no. Rebound loose, scooped up by Diaz. Start the break here for the Titans. Piedmont, a good job getting back, though, to kind of slow things down. Here's Curry. With it for the Titans. She'll dribble out to the top of the key. Nice underneath. Oh, boy, it was the right idea to the cutting Sutton with a good pass. That would have been an easy lay-in, but just missed her a little too long, and it's a turnover. So with a minute to play in the quarter, Piedmont has it back up 5. Here's Marshall with it. Being hounded by Plunkett. She'll give it up to Crawford, guarded by Diaz. Plunkett comes to help, pokes it loose. Ball on the deck, and a turnover forced. That was caused by Plunkett getting over, helping her teammate, jarring that one free. Here's Moore for 3, but it's an offensive foul. The shot goes in, but it doesn't count, obviously. As Curry gets nailed for the offensive foul. Right after she dished it, bowled over her defender, and it's a charge against her. First personal on Curry and the third team foul against the Titans, and they just have not had the offensive consistent rhythm that we're used to seeing. I mean, I don't see this team as often as Jordan does. That's where I would like to lean on him if he was with me, but I see this team relatively often. Saw them a couple times last week, and they look more out of sync tonight than they did against 6A Memorial. That's credit to Piedmont, as we have another foul here again on Plunkett, and that's a third on Audrey Plunkett, who she is a freshman who comes off the bench, but she's a really important player for the Titans, and she's got 3 fouls. Certainly something worth keeping an eye on, as both teams now with 4. So still have a couple to give, but we're approaching that area, the bonus. Here's Lee for 3. Back iron, no. Rebound is loose and pulled in by Moore. That was nicely done. Titans have it back down 5. Can they cut into it a little bit here before the 4th? This pass is going to go right off the hands of Anderson. Again, just sloppy. Bad pass by Curry. Goes right off her fingertips. And Piedmont's going to have a chance to take the final shot. Just lots of unforced errors in this game for the Titans. So 10 seconds for Piedmont here to work with. Racing ahead is Burnett. She'll go all the way to the rim. Blocked by Plunkett. 3 seconds. Can the Titans get a shot up? Give to Anderson. This will count. And it comes up just short. And we're going to the 4th. 35-30 Piedmont. Don't go anywhere. 4th quarter up next. Should be a fun finish in the first of 2 tonight in the OSN Game of the Week doubleheader.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others. Join the fight.
Back to Carl Albert Fieldhouse. Josh Calloway, Ileana Berryhill with you on a Friday night in Midwest City as we get ready to get back to action. I want to thank our 4th quarter sponsor, which is La Herencia Grill. The best Mexican food in the Mid-Del area, whether it's dine-in or carry out using Grubhub or catering. See the delicious food. 6811 Southeast 15th Street, right next to Jimmy's Egg. Give them a call, 405-931-3154. La Herencia Grill as we get ready to start the 4th quarter. Anybody's ball game right now, but Piedmont, inarguably, has had the upper hand throughout the night. There was one run there for the Titans where they took the lead even briefly late in that 2nd quarter, but the Wildcats finished strong with a 9-0 run, and they now take a 35-30 edge here into the 4th. 3 ball to start it for Crawford. Comes up way off to the right. Rebound pinballs out to Diaz, and the Titans start the break. And a cheapy foul here is going to be called on Crawford. That's going to be the 5th on Piedmont. So they have one more to give, but after that, Titans will be in the bonus the rest of the way. So certainly something to keep an eye on there and keep in mind as we go down the stretch of this game. 2nd foul called on Crawford. Titans with it. Here's Kofer. Left side to Anderson. Anderson to the top, Diaz. She'll line up a 3 ball. Clackums with a swackums on top of it. 3 ball for Diaz, and it's a 1-score game again. But So often in this spot, we've seen Piedmont respond. Will they do it this time? We'll find out right now. 35-33. Round the horn to Crawford. Gives it up to Lee. She thought about it and said she'll drive. Dish out Carr. Ooh, almost traveled. But she does retain it. Puts on the floor, trying to figure out where she wants to go with the freshman Anderson guarding the veteran Chloe Carr. Hand off to Crawford. He's had a huge game. Ball's loose and scooped up. Turnover forced. Here's Diaz the other way. Pass off to Anderson. She'll drive on the elbow, figure out where she wants to go. Tied up from behind. Kick out Diaz. Lines up the open three. Comes up short. That would have given Carl Albert somewhat, unsurprisingly, I guess, or whatever the right word is, the lead. As we now have whistles and a timeout here call with 6:39 to go. 35-33, the score in favor of Piedmont. We have a time on the floor. We'll go ahead and take it with them. 6.5 to play. Still anybody's ball game here at Carl Albert Fieldhouse for the OSN Game of the Week.
When it comes to your home, you need someone that you can trust to keep it safe and protected for you and your family.
Vesta Foundation Solutions is your local, family-owned company that has helped many homeowners fix and protect their homes.
Our engineered solutions can take care of all of your foundation repair, basement waterproofing, concrete leveling, and dirt crawl space repair needs.
We take pride in getting the job done right, and you'll always be protected with up to a 75-year warranty.
Contact us today for a free estimate.
Back to Carl Albert Fieldhouse here in the OSN Game of the Week. Anybody's ball game still as we hit 6.5 to play. 35-33 Piedmont, first end of our doubleheader tonight here on OSN. Wildcats with the ball up by a deuce. In the corner, here's Lee with it for Piedmont. Feeds it off to Burnett, round left side to Crawford. Crawford, long pass in the corner to Watkins. She lines up the open three. Front of the rim, no good. Skying in for the rebound is Crawford, though. Piedmont a second chance. Lee for three, Clackums. What a costly offensive rebound that was to allow for Carl Albert. It gets Piedmont a second chance, and they cash in a three. Meanwhile, missed three ball on the other side for Carl Albert, but they get a second chance as Diaz pulls in the rebound. Like we mentioned before the break there, Piedmont always seeming to respond when the Titans throw a big punch to get right back in it. There it was, a big three there to go back up by 5 on the Bobby Lewis three ball. Underneath, off the fingertips of Moore, and a turnover by the Titans again. You've just seen this so often tonight. You just have to give Piedmont, you have to tip your cap at a point. I mean, don't get me wrong, Carl Albert has done a lot to kind of beat themselves tonight, but Wildcats have just been game all night. Carr for three, that's a Clackums! Another Bobby Lewis three, and it comes at a huge point as the Wildcats now lead by 8 with 5.5 to go. More on the other side. Bounce pass in the corner to Kofer. Can the Titans respond right now to a melee here in this fourth quarter from the Wildcats? Moore feeds off Kofer. Now Diaz in the corner. To the top, Moore once again. Trying to get some room. She'll hand it off to Anderson. Goes down the lane, kick out in the corner. Kofer thought about it. Instead, she'll dribble it out, and Carl Albert will set up shop. As we near the final 5 minutes, you still got time if you're Carl Albert, but starts to possessions become a little precious now. More down the lane. That was a nice move and a nice finish. Titans back within 6, 41-35, 4:56 to go. We have another timeout here on the floor. I think this was just a 30-seconder, so we'll stick here through the break if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure it's a 30-second timeout, and it is. 41-35, under 5 minutes to go. Have the opportunity here to tell you, again, we mentioned it coming right out of the half, though, if you didn't hear it. Next OSN Game of the Week, next Tuesday night, Choctaw hosting Putnam City West. We're going to have both ends of that one for you as well. Something we've been having to incorporate a little more this year is doing doubleheaders, getting both girls and boys games into our Game of the Week package. We've had some great games, tonight included, and we'll have that for you next Tuesday, weather permitting. It's a chance that some weather could impact that for us, but we'll keep an eye on that, and if it gets moved to Thursday, we should still be able to have it for you on OSN, and If it doesn't happen at all, we'll make it up to you. We'll find a way to make it up for you. If it doesn't get played at all, we'll figure that out when we get there. But back to action here as we have double barrel action on OSN tonight. Midwest City, Del City going on as we speak. That game getting late as well. Their girls game. We got a good finish here brewing, 41-35 Piedmont. Here's Lee in the corner. Wildcat trying to pull off an upset on the road. That's not going to help. Turnover here forced as a couple of Titans poke that away. Diaz with it. Now she lost it. And we're going to get a foul here called on Diaz, who had her pass deflected by Burnett and then reached in trying to get it back. Big call. Second personal against Diaz and the 5th team foul against Carl Albert. So with 4:33 left, and counting now, both teams are one away, or have one to give, I should say, from putting the other team in the bonus. Could be a big factor down the stretch. Turnover force. There's Plunkett again. The freshman just seems to always be around the ball. Carl Albert with a much-needed turnover. Can they catch it in with points to get back a little bit closer? Here's Moore going down the lane to the rim. Tough finish, couldn't do it, but she's fouled. And back to the Rose State cherry stripe goes Aja Moore. A lot of times I felt like Carl Albert's best offense has just been give the ball to Aja Moore and let her go to the rim and see what she can't create. The foul's called on Watkins. That's her third. And like I mentioned a second ago, as the first free throw comes up short, got to make these. That now puts Carl Albert in the bonus the rest of the way. Fouls the rest of the way, offensive fouls notwithstanding, will be free throws for Carl Albert. But you got to make them. She missed both, but Plunkett, there she is again. The freshman just stays everywhere, gets the the offensive rebound, I should say, and buys the Titans another opportunity as we hit the midway point of the fourth. Here's Moore trying to get some room. Goes to her left. She'll hand it off to Sutton. Can she get hot from deep? Boy, how helpful would that be? Plunkett, and off a nice feed from Sutton, can't go. Plunkett put back, rebound won't go. Fight for her own board again. She got twisted up, really awkward fall there. And she's a little slow to get up. The ball actually goes out of bounds and will stay at this end again. So give Plunkett credit. Somehow stealing extra possessions here for Carl Albert, but at some point you got to start paying these off. 3:43 left, still down 6. Inbound goes to Sutton, just off the block there. Down the baseline, nice find to Diaz for 3. Not going to go. Boy, that was a beauty of a pass. And we got whistles and a foul here. I think it's against Piedmont. It is. That's a foul against Piedmont. That should be free throws. Officials haven't realized it yet, but that should be a 1-and-1 for the Titans. Diaz should be shooting a 1-and-1 right here. I think they may have just realized it, and they did. So the foul is called on Macy Lee. That's her third, and again, team 7. So this is going to be a 1-and-1. The Titans are going to have a chance to make this interesting at the line, but they got to make them, and they do there. First one good for Sutton at the Rose State charity stripe. Second one also good. Very different style of game than what we saw last Saturday night with these Titans against Edmond Memorial in the championship of the Titan Classic. 3 balls everywhere, shootout offense. Tonight's been more of a slugfest, but hey, it all goes down the same in the scorebook as a W or an L. Can the Titans find a way, or can Piedmont hang on the road? 3 ball here, almost banked in. Offensive rebound again for Piedmont. Lee for 3, that won't fall. Another rebound for the Wildcats. It's been the story of the game. Crawford open 3, this'll hurt. It doesn't go though. 3 chances for the Wildcats, they can't cash one in. Titans have it back down 4. Racing the way, Diaz down the lane, no good. Plunkett there to put it back. Titans are down by 2. It's a 6-0 run. And once again, I mean, how many times have we said this today? I've said it 100 times. It's the worst broadcasting in the world. But every time, it looks like Piedmont's going to put it away. Carl Albert responds. Every time it looks like Carl Albert's going to go on a run, take the lead. Piedmont responds. We've seen it over and over again. And again, here we are, a 2-point game with 2:44 left. Another 30-second timeout. Catch your breath. What a wild game we have here. Brew, we have another one for you. Boys game up next. Number 1 team in 5A, the Titans of Carl Albert, have the Piedmont Wildcats in here. Number 10 team in 5A. That'll be coming up next for you right back here on this same channel, so don't go anywhere. Stick it with us. Hang out for 10 minutes, and then we'll have that game for you to follow. This one right here on OSN. And like I said earlier, I'm a sucker for the cross-class matchups. We feature a lot of those on the OSN Game of the Week. But when you get to this point in the season, just a few weeks left, and you have 2 teams that are highly ranked in the same class, duking it out because they know if I want to win the whole thing, which both these teams are hoping to do, you got to go through the other one looking right across from you. You're going to have to deal with them at some point, probably. And so that makes it a little more fun, and we're having that right now. 41-39, 2.5 to go. Lee gives it up, driving here, mid-range jumper for Burnett, put it in. That was a really good move by Burnett to get some room, mid-range jumper, put it down. Piedmont back ahead by 2 scores, yet again immediately responding after the Titans go on a run to get within 1 score. Moore, left side, Sutton, she'll fire a deep 3, Clackums! Sutton from way deep, and it's a 1-point game with 2:10 left. What a great game this has been, and we're set up for a tremendous finish on the game of the week. 2 minutes left, 1-point game. Who wants it at Carl Albert Fieldhouse? Carr hands it off to Burnett. Burnett feed off to Lee. Macy Lee out toward the top. Hand off Crawford once more to her left. She had that real hot start, has kind of cooled off since. Has still been a big part of the offense, but not quite as much as what we saw early in this game. And a turnover, it's Diaz, pokes it away, fast break, easy lay-in, Titans lead. With 90 seconds left, the biggest play of the game right there by Diaz, and now I think we have a foul. And it's on Diaz, but that's only the 6th on Carl Albert, and that's huge because if it was one further, it would mean a 1-and-1, but it's just the 6th team foul. 3rd personal on Diaz, so Piedmont retains possession. Any foul now will be free throws, but not that one, which is obviously the important one right now. Lee hands off to Carr, 1:15 left, 1-point game. Here's Burnett, goes to her right, trying to get some room. Hand it off to Watkins, she'll fire a 3, too much. Rebound loose, scooped up by Diaz. Offensive rebounding has been, or defensive rebounding I should say, has been a huge issue for Carl Albert tonight, but they come up with a big one there. Under a minute to go, up 1. And now how slow do the Titans play this? And we're going to get a whistle and a timeout, I should say. Taken by the Titans with 55 seconds left. And that's the big question now if you're Carl Albert. How do you approach this final 55 seconds? Because you can obviously try to just totally slow play it and hope that they eventually foul you, which isn't a bad idea. It's what Piedmont would have to do eventually. But the issue there is that it's going to be a 1-and-1. And even if you can make both, it's still a 1-point game. So are you better off designing an offensive set, an actual play to try and get one of your shooters a look from deep, to maybe go for the body blow? I don't want to call it a dagger, but close to it this late in the game. Or do you just kind of accept that we're going to get fouled and we're going to need to make free throws? That's going to be the big question here. And we mentioned it earlier, when you're playing these close competitive games, free throws are probably going to be a big part of the story down the stretch. That's probably going to come into play here in just a couple of moments. So we'll see what happens here in the waning moments of this ball game here at Carl Albert Fieldhouse. Josh Calloway with you. Ileana Berryhill working the camera for us tonight on OSN. This is the OSN game of the week. Doubleheader action. Boys game up next. Number 1 Carl Albert, number 10 Piedmont, but we still got a lot to decide here in this one. The last time we were here, last Saturday night, the Titan Classic Boys Championship game, we went to overtime. Don't want to say we're headed for that again, especially considering it's a 1-point game right now, but that's when we last saw. It's another turnover. Crawford poked it away, down the lane, put it in. Piedmont back ahead by 1. 2 huge turnovers, 1 from each team in the winning moments of this game. Now Sutton for 3, front of the rim, no good. Offensive rebound for the Titans, though. Anderson up and under, that won't go. Rebound, Piedmont. Wildcats ahead by 1, and they have the ball with 30 seconds left. Carr gets around her defender. Time is just melting off right now. You got to foul. If you're Carl Albert, you can't just let the clock go away, and they eventually do with 20.7 to go. Jillian Crawford will head to the line for a 1-and-1, which is the key part of this. It's a 1-and-1. Even if she makes them both, the game is not over. Titans will only be down by 3, obviously. It's the 4th foul on Diaz. Boy, the huge turnover to start the fast break to put Carl Albert in the lead, but the front end of the 1-on-1 no good. So Titans racing back. They're down by 1. Are they going to take a timeout? Are they going to let it go? Looks like Coach Ritchie's going to let them go. We got 12 seconds. 10 seconds to play. Can the Titans find a way to avoid the upset on their home floor? Kofer, feed off to Moore. 5 seconds. Guarded by Watkins. She'll pull up long 2. It won't go. Rebound, Anderson is loose, and Piedmont hangs on. What a finish at Carl Albert Fieldhouse. The Wildcats find a way on the road to pull off the upset and knock off the number 2 team in 5A. What a huge win for Coach Carr and Piedmont. Statement win, to say the least. That's one of those wins you circle when a team is ascending down the back end of a season right there. What a big-time win for Piedmont. Player of the game, I don't think there's any doubt. I mean, you know where we're going with it. It's an easy call. We're going with Jillian Crawford for player of the game as I pull up the player of the game sponsor, which is Triple Elite. She was tremendous. It was her offense early in this game that made the difference, and her defense at the end made the difference. The big steal and turnover to put Piedmont in the lead, a lead they would not relent. Jillian Crawford, without a doubt, the player of the game, presented by Triple Elite. Find world-class designs and hot new styles at Triple Elite, 405-610-5200. What a wild game that was. And Piedmont wins it 45-44. An absolute thriller right down to the end. And the Wildcats, like I said, statement win on the road. You go beat number 2 in their place, you're happy with that any day. Any day. Was it always pretty? No, but you're happy with the end result. So Piedmont goes to 12-6 on the season. Carl Albert falls to 14-3, just their 3rd loss. And obviously one of those losses came in their last game. So they have a 2-game losing streak. Very rare for Piedmont. And we'll see how they bounce back, or for Carl Albert, I should say. We'll see how they bounce back. Piedmont next up. They'll have Guthrie welcome them into the Wildcats Athletic Center next Tuesday night. That's a top 15 matchup, as Guthrie number 15 currently in 5A. As for Carl Albert, they'll be back at it on the road next Tuesday at Noble, who currently checks in number 17 in 5A. All right, that's your ball game here in Game 1. It was a great game. We're glad you found us however you did. We're going to take a timeout here. We'll come back in 5-6 minutes or so, and we'll get you ready for the next game, as the Wildcats are already taking the 4, as you can see there, as number 1 Carl Albert and number 10 Piedmont boys next up for you right here on the Oklahoma Sports Network Game of the Week.
When I'm flying, I put my helmet on, my visor down, my mask up. You don't know who I am. Whether I'm African American, Asian American, Hispanic, white, male or female. You just know I'm an American Airman kicking your butt. I'm General C.Q. Brown, Jr. Come join us.
Sidelined by surgery, illness, injury? Valor Physical Therapy can help. At Valor PT, our skilled therapists create a rehabilitation program individualized for you, with education and encouragement each step of the way. Whether it's sports or the activities of life, let Valor get you back in the game. Start now at 405-265-6449. No referral needed. Mention Oklahoma Sports Network and get a free t-shirt at your first appointment.
When it comes to your home, you need someone that you can trust to keep it safe and protected for you and your family.
Vesta Foundation Solutions is your local, family-owned company that has helped many homeowners fix and protect their homes.
Our engineered solutions can take care of all of your foundation repair, basement waterproofing, concrete leveling, and dirt crawl space repair needs.
We take pride in getting the job done right, and you'll always be protected with up to a 75-year warranty.
Contact us today for a free estimate.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others. Join the fight.
This is a presentation of the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Any other use of this telecast or any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the Oklahoma Sports Network's consent is prohibited. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be used without express written consent.
Hello, welcome everybody back in here on the Oklahoma Sports Network. Just about ready to get the second game of our doubleheader going as number 10 Piedmont visits number 1 Carl Albert. We got the boys game here up next for you. A phenomenal girls game. If you missed it, you missed a great one. It's still available for you on OSN. It's not going anywhere. Once this broadcast is over, give a little bit of time, and both these games will be on the same broadcast. Just go check out the website, go underneath the Carl Albert tab. And the game will be there for you if you missed it, because it was a great one. 45-44, Piedmont girls pull off the upset on the road. Now can the boys do the same? We'll find out here in just a moment. And that was the question coming in. We talked about it a little bit briefly earlier. If you're just tuning in, the last time Carl Albert played was the Titan Classic last week. We had the games for you. Both girls and boys had a very similar end to their runs, right? They both ran into 6A teams who are the top of the line in 6A, obviously the class above this one, and they pushed them. They were right down to the end. Girls lost by 6 at Memorial. These Titans lost to the Putnam City North Panthers by 1 in overtime. It was an epic game. They had 2 shots at the end to win it. Hutch Russell, a good look at 3. Rebound, Jordan England from the free throw line, didn't get it, and both took gut punch losses down. They both had a week to get over it, but still, you kind of been sitting around for a week. It was, snowstorm this week, no school. You wonder if there would be any kind of a little bit of a hangover, a little bit of a funk after almost a week away and having that loss kind of linger over you, not being able to find a way to win your home tournament. You can't say for sure, obviously, if that was part of the issue with the girls, but they came out a little slow. Piedmont had a big lead, and Piedmont just had momentum, had confidence, and never let the Lady Titans really take a stranglehold of the game. Piedmont was leading almost the entire game, and they held on late with a great defensive play to win it. Now, will that affect the boys' team as well? We're going to find out in just a moment. Obviously, if you're unfamiliar with these two teams, Piedmont, very solid group, a top 10 team for a reason. They got some really fun athletes that I'm excited to see tonight. We saw them earlier this year when they played Tuttle. It was a really fun game. Jeremiah Wea is a really good one, a senior. He can jump out of the building. He's fun to watch. Carl Albert, meanwhile, you know the story. Explosive everywhere. Number 1 in 5A for a reason. They got guys who can shoot it. They got big guys who can rebound. They got guys who can dunk everywhere, guys who can shoot everywhere. Great point guard play with Jordan England. Lots of like with the Carl Albert Titans. Obviously, number 1 for a reason. And so we'll see if the Wildcats can do what the girls team just did and come in here and try to pull off a big road upset. We'll see what happens. Should be fun. That's one thing that we know. And so we're excited to see this one get underway here in just a minute between Piedmont and Carl Albert. So we're just a moment away from getting this game started as the Titans here on their home floor hosting Piedmont. We'll do the starting lineups here presented by Louis in Midwest City. 6007 Southeast 15th Street in Midwest City. Louis, we're in your neighborhood. Big fan of Louis. Get the Joker. It's a burger with mac and cheese on it. It's tremendous. Shout out Louis. Great Caesar wraps there as well. Starting lineup for the visiting Piedmont Wildcats. Number 3 is Walker Kennedy. He's a 6-foot sophomore. Number 15 is Ryder Anderson, a 5'10 junior. Number 22 is Ethan Holiday. Number 32, as again the lights got me here, number 32 is Colton Sidness, a 6'5 senior. He was really good against Tuttle as well in that game we saw earlier this year. Number 35 is Jeremiah Weah, who is a really fun player to watch, a 6'2 senior for the Wildcats. Piedmont is coached by Brandon Jackson, and they come into play tonight, the number 10 team in 5A, and with a 12-5 record. As for the number 1 team in the class, the mighty Carl Albert Titans, a 5 that, if you watch this team, you're familiar with. Number 2 is Casey Baker. He's a 6'1 junior. Number 3, the point guard I mentioned a moment ago, the floor general for this team, is Jordan England. He's a 6' senior. Number 11, the big man, 6'7", Jaden Mott. He's a junior. Number 21, Ryan Reynolds, a 6'5 junior. He can really get hot from deep. If you've never watched him play, you're in for a treat tonight. He's fun to watch. And rounding it out, number 22, Quincy Hopkins, a 6'3 junior. You can expect to see Tayshawn James, probably the first one off the bench, the senior. He's a lot of fun to watch. Talk about him more when he gets in there, but he's usually the sixth man, kind of your unofficial other starter, if you will, for the Titans. So we are just about ready to get this thing going. We're glad you found us however you did. And what should be a great one. We had a good game to get the night started. Hopefully we get more of the same here in Game 2. Our first quarter sponsor is Buffalo Wild Wings, where every day is game day. Check them out, 5500 Tinker Diagonal in Dell City. They're our first quarter sponsor here tonight. Obviously, if you are an avid watcher of the game of the week, we have a lot of kind of different elements to the broadcast tonight, since this is a mid-Dell school. Obviously, Carl Albert, Midwest City, Dell City, we air a lot of their games on OSN anyway. But Carl Albert, big game at home against Piedmont, caught my attention. I said that should be game of the week, and so it has been. Had a great game to get the night started. Hopefully more of the same here in Game 2. Titans win the tip. We're off and running from Carl Albert Fieldhouse here in Midwest City. Josh Calloway with you. Ileana Berryhill on the camera tonight. England for 3 in the corner. That air ball's long. And here's Weah pulling that in. Piedmont in the road blues with the yellow trim and white numbers. Carl Albert in the home whites with the red trim and red numbers. Glad you could be with us on a Friday night here in late January. The meaty part of the season getting going here. As a 3-ball from the top of the keys, no good from Anderson. But look at Weah there to clean it up. And it's Piedmont on the board first. We mentioned right at the top, Jeremiah Weah, a really talented youngster for this team. I say youngster, he's a senior. He's still a kid, obviously. He's in high school. But he's really fun and athletic. He's a fun player to watch. Reynolds, for 3 doesn't go. But look at Quincy Hopkins skying in for the cleanup. And so both teams get their first points on offensive rebounds. And we're tied up 2 apiece. Just about a minute in here on the OSN Game of the Week. A top 10 collision here in 5A, Piedmont and Carl Albert. We're glad you found us however you did. We're live tonight on Facebook, YouTube, of course our app on Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, Apple TV, and of course the website. You can always find us there, oksportsnet.com. Shot there for Piedmont didn't go. Titans the other way. Here's Baker, pump fake once. Down the baseline, long pass to Hopkins. Quincy Hopkins down the lane, rocket pass. Baker open 3-ball. It's off the back iron, no. Rebound, though, Jordan England. He'll take it to the rim. That's a lot of contact, and it's an offensive foul. A charge against England. So the first foul of this game goes against the senior veteran point guard of this Titans team, Jordan England. Certainly not a guy you want to get in foul trouble. Just one foul early, but still. The point stands. Wildcats with it. There's Sidness handing it off to Anderson. And a poked away there by England will go out of bounds and stay Piedmont ball. Mentioned the Titans last we saw them. Last Saturday went toe-to-toe with the PC North Panthers, who are a force to be reckoned with in 6A. They are no joke at all. That's a team that can win 6A. Piedmont, meanwhile, last they were in action was at the Newcastle tournament, and they came off a couple of losses. They fell to the Racers, who we saw last week against Tuttle, a really talented team. They lost a close one to Newcastle, and then they turned around and lost to Enid in their last game. So they're coming on a 2-game losing skid, are these Wildcats, as they force a turnover here, start the break. Here's Weah racing down the lane. Layup attempt doesn't go. Up and down. Good pace to this one early. England on the other side for the Titans. Underneath to Jaden Mott. Good ball movement to Baker. Kick out Reynolds for 3. Thought about it. Instead, he'll put it on the floor. Mid-range jumper, no. Rebound knocked outside, and Hopkins will have it and reset things for the Titans. Just getting going. 5:25 to play in the first. Carl Albert and Piedmont, a 5A collision. Two teams that have got aspirations, certainly the Titans as the number one team. Hopkins, that's a Clackham's and a 3-ball. Our first Bobby Lewis Insurance 3-ball of the game. Two great locations to serve you in Choctaw and Del City. Bobby Lewis Insurance, the 3-ball sponsor for Mid-Del basketball on the Oklahoma Sports Network. 5-2 early lead for Carl Albert. Driving the lane, here's Anderson. He's blocked by Reynolds. It's loose, scooped up by England. Start the break for the Titans. Kick out in the corner. Hopkins for another 3. It's going to come up short. Rebound, though. Mott buys the Titans another chance. Mott to the rim. And we got whistles. What's the call here? Looks like it's against Piedmont. First one early on the Cats. The board put it on Carl Albert. They have the ball, so that doesn't make any sense. Inbound goes to Hopkins, meanwhile, and he sticks it home. 7-0 run just from Hopkins alone. And it's a 7-2 lead for the Titans. The foul looks like against Sidness. That's his first. Now, you saw that hurt Piedmont. Now, they beat Tuttle when we did their game earlier this year, but that hurt Piedmont was Colton Sidness getting into some foul trouble in that night. As ball goes out of bounds, it'll be Titan ball. Looks like that ball definitely, yeah, there's some Piedmont players that are saying, excuse me, because that looked like it went off a Titan player's foot. But they don't get the benefit of it, and it would be Titan ball. And they get the ball back 7-2, a 7-0 run, all from Quincy Hopkins. Here's England with his heels on the Carl Albert midcourt logo here at wonderful Carl Albert Fieldhouse. Here's Hopkins from the elbow. What a start for this guy. He knocks another one down. 9-0 run, all by Quincy Hopkins after Piedmont got that first bucket. What a start for the junior. England pokes out a way to go out of bounds and stay at this end. Boy, I'll tell you what, I mean, the triple elite player of the game was sewed up pretty early in the last game if Piedmont had won by Jillian Crawford. And Quincy Hopkins is making that kind of bid here in game 2. What a start for him. 9 points to start this thing. Piedmont with it. This is Holiday driving the lane. Right-hand floater comes up short. Rebound pulled in by England. And the Titans start the break. Piedmont's going to have to find some offense. Obviously, you've got to be able to score to hang with the Titans. It's a team that can just get up and go and shoot. And like I said, anybody can dunk. They've got athleticism everywhere. Few teams really can match them athletically. Here's Hopkins. He thought about it. Instead, he'll put it on the floor. To the rim. Almost rolled it home. That was a great move, but didn't quite finish it. And so Hopkins, he is mortal. He misses there, and the Wildcats going to stop. Any points, though. Sidness for 3. That's too much. 3-ball goes way long. Scooped up by Reynolds. Start the break for the Titans. Now England will have it, and they'll slow up, and they'll set up some offense here. Didn't mention it. Titans are coached by Jay Price. 13-3 record coming into play tonight. Mott underneath to Baker. Floater here doesn't roll home. That's a good look from Mott underneath to Baker. We didn't finish it, but a turnover here forced. Mott gives it back to Hopkins to the rim. Can't finish, but he's fouled. And for the first time in this ball game, we'll get a player headed to the Rose State charity stripe where Hopkins will shoot a pair. Rose State College, looking for a university experience while staying close to home? Look no further than them. Rose State College, with over 60 degree options, on-campus housing, and transfer agreements with all the Oklahoma universities. Rose State College will jumpstart your college education. Apply today at rose.edu. So Hopkins knocks down the first one. Second one on the way here is also good. So it's an 11-0 run for the Titans. It's been a good day for Carl Albert, by the way, if you're unfamiliar. About maybe half the roster got offers from the University of Oklahoma today, football-wise. It was a productive day on that front as a 3-ball here doesn't go. Always cool to see Brent Venables and that staff putting a bigger emphasis on recruiting guys in the state. And you're not going to find many programs more consistently elite than Carl Albert, regardless of class. So not a bad, you've seen him do it a little bit with Bixby as well. Not a bad option there. Another good option here with Carl Albert. As a turnover here, Sidney scoops it. Piedmont needs points. It's been a long drought. 3-ball here, won't roll home. Rebound goes out of bounds. I think this is going to be Piedmont ball. Nope, it's Carl Albert ball. I thought that was going to be last touch by Mott, but not the case. Piedmont in a long, dry spell offensively, and you just simply can't have these against the Titans. They're too athletic. They can score too many points. They can just get after you too much. Right now, Piedmont, I mean, they're down. It's the first quarter, but you're in a hole that you did not want to be in if you're Coach Jackson. Hand off to Mott. He'll give it up to Hutch Russell, key player off the bench for this Titan team. Driving here, Hopkins underneath to England. Through some contact, can't finish. Skying in there was Reed DeQuazy. He gets it back, and he almost put that in. So Reed DeQuazy, who's a recent OU commit, as a preferred walk-on, has drawn the foul, and he'll head to the line. That number 20 has been kind of a moving target on this Carl Albert roster as far as who's actually wearing it. Tonight it's Reed DeQuazy. Free throw there doesn't go. For the Titan Classic, it was Xavier Garcia who was rocking the 20. So we'll have to keep an eye out for him if he comes into the ballgame, what number exactly he's wearing. As DeQuazy splits the trip. It's a 12-0 run. First Titan points from somebody not named Quincy Hopkins. And where do the Wildcats go for some offense now? They got to find it. That's not going to help. Holiday has it poked away, stolen by England. Start the break up to Hopkins. Feeds it back to England. Little floater's good. 14-0 run for Carl Albert. And I'll tell you what, as we have a timeout here taken by Piedmont, we talked about it right at the top of this broadcast in the second game here, the boys' game. Would there be a little bit of a hangover at all from the Titan Classic and that tough overtime loss so close to a huge statement win over Putnam City North? And the answer is emphatically no. Titans have come out flying around, playing with lots of energy, and Piedmont right now is getting completely suffocated offensively. They have not been able to get anybody loose for a good look, and when it has happened, they haven't hit it. So it's been a rough start for Piedmont, who's another team trying to bounce back. Like we said, they're coming in on a two-game losing streak, dropping a couple after winning their opener at the Newcastle tournament last week. So they're trying to get back on the right track as well, and not what the doctor ordered for Coach Brandon Jackson at Piedmont right now. They're down by 12. We'll see if they can't turn it around, though. A lot of time to do it. It's just a $1:10 to play here in the first. Bounce pass here in the corner, and he'll kick it back out. This is Sidness with it. Cam Hanrahar is in the game, by the way, for Piedmont. He's number 13. He's at the bottom. He has the ball now as we're in the final minute of the quarter. Pass here over to Hudson Height. An impressive freshman. As I said, he turns it over, lost it off his hands. Hudson Height gave Piedmont a lot of really quality minutes. What we saw them earlier this year. Hit some really key free throws in that game, too, to kind of salt that away for Piedmont, hanging on to beat Tuttle on that night at the Wildcats Athletic Center. Can't ask for much more if you're Coach Price and the Titans in this opening quarter. A lot has gone well. They lead 14-2. Turnaround shot from Mott. That'll help. And it's 16-2 Carl Albert with 30 seconds to play in the first. What a start for Carl Albert on their home floor. Here's Sidness in the corner. Gives it up. Hanrahar tried to feed it off to Height. He had it poked away and stolen by Hopkins. Start the break for the Titans. Racing down the floor. England all the way to the rim, and he puts it in. Jordan England, 18-2. Carl Albert. This is a top 10 matchup, folks, and Carl Albert's making a statement right now. 5 seconds to play in the quarter. Feed it off to Height. Got to get it up. Hanrahar trapped. Just has to fire it away, and it's, I don't know if that was a shot or a pass. Doesn't matter. It didn't come anywhere near the rim. And that's the end of the first quarter. What a first 8 minutes for the Titans. Statement being made currently. A lot of game left, but statement being made. All right, timeout. We'll come back for the second quarter up next right here. OSN Game of the Week on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
When it comes to your home, you need someone that you can trust to keep it safe and protected for you and your family.
Vesta Foundation Solutions is your local, family-owned company that has helped many homeowners fix and protect their homes.
Our engineered solutions can take care of all of your foundation repair, basement waterproofing, concrete leveling, and dirt crawl space repair needs.
We take pride in getting the job done right, and you'll always be protected with up to a 75-year warranty.
Contact us today for a free estimate.
Back at Carl Albert Fieldhouse, Josh Calloway with you on the Oklahoma Sports Network. A really good first quarter for the Titans. They have made a statement so far as they lead at 18-2 as we get the second quarter started. Wildcats with the ball. I mean, obviously, you hate to just pile on, but almost nothing went right for Piedmont in that first quarter. I mean, offensively didn't have it, defensively didn't have it. You're turning it over. A lot of game left, but you got to get it going here. That's a 3-ball. That's not going to help. As Walker Kennedy misses that 3, start the break for the Titans. It's poked away and loose, scooped up by Piedmont. So there's a turnover. You need something. That'll help. Race down to the floor. Here's Hanrahar underneath. That's not going to help. A ball is loose. I think they might call this a kickball. That's exactly what it is. So Piedmont will keep it. We're going to thank our second quarter sponsor, which is Super Subs, home of the Steak Bomb Sandwich, locally owned and operated for over 20 years. 2150 South Douglas Boulevard in Midwest City. Give them a call, 405-733-5440. That's Super Subs, our second quarter sponsor here tonight on the OSN Game of the Week. Piedmont and Carl Albert. We had the girls' game earlier, a great game. Piedmont won by 1 point in the final moments. A big upset on the road. Boys not having the same success here early as Weah shot doesn't go, but a rebound put back by number 30, Bryce McConnell, a 6'4 sophomore coming off the bench. Comes in and makes an impact. He gets fouled and gets the bucket to go anyway. And hey, man, you're struggling. Old-fashioned three-point plays, that's what you need, both in terms of, obviously, literally, you need the points on the board. You need any score you can get. You got to make the free throw, though. But it can really kind of rally guys, kind of that tough finish. Try to get some energy injected into their bench a little bit, because you can't really ask for a much more poor start than what happened in that first quarter. Titans with it, up by 14. Casey Baker underneath to DeQuazy. He lost out of bounds. They're going to say it stays at this end with the Titans. Jordan England will do the honors on the inbound here. He gets it out to Hutch Russell. Russell left side Baker. Shoeshine England did a good job to scoop that like a first baseman. Right side Ryan Reynolds. Pump fake once. He got 2 guys on that pump. Pass deflected here. It'll stay with it. Good job Walker Kennedy getting a hand in there to kind of break up that rhythm. But Titans do retain. England mid-range jumper. Cash money. Jordan England in that mid-range. He's smooth. Real smooth. And the Titans lead it by 16. 20-4. Here's Weah, who has not had an impact just yet. That shot didn't go. Got it back. Put back. There you go. That's what we saw a lot of in that Piedmont-Tuttle game, is Weah being just a nuisance. I was about to say nemesis, but I guess that kind of works too. For Tuttle, and now tonight he could be for Carl Albert on the glass. Not the biggest guy, 6'2", but he's just an athlete. He can get up, and he saw it there. A big play as this ball's poked into the backcourt. I think this is, nope, it is going to be over and back. I thought for sure that was touched by Piedmont. That's exactly what Jordan England is saying. But they don't get the benefit of the call there, so it'll be a turnover. So a little life here from Piedmont. You're still down by a great deal, but you've had a couple of better-looking offensive possessions. You've gotten a couple of stops. You're just trying to find inklings of positivity. If you can keep this within 10 or so at halftime, you feel like you're still in it. So we'll see what happens the rest of this way. Here's Weah trying to get some room. He gives it up to Kennedy. Kennedy will drive. Lost it. It's loose, and it'll go out of bounds, and that's a turnover. Good defense there by Hutch Russell, just hounding Walker Kennedy. Here's Baker, gives up to Reynolds. Back to Casey Baker, going to his right. Bounce pass underneath. Reed DeQuazy to the rim, couldn't quite finish it. Another stop there from Piedmont. You're seeing their defense here in this second quarter has been a little better. They've crashed down on Carl Albert with higher success. Can they cash in the other side, though? I mean, they got 4 points in the quarter, which is double what they had in the first quarter, but that's still not going to be enough, obviously. You got to find more of a rhythm here on this end, but the defense seems to be finding it a little bit. Nearly a turnover. Here's Height with it. Down the baseline, nice feed off, and shoe shined his man there, McConnell, and it's loose, scooped up. And a fast break for the Titans. Good job, though, by Piedmont getting back to kill it. Round the horn, England for 3 at the top. Clackham's. Boy, Jordan England with that lefty stroke. If he's got a little bit of room to maneuver, it just feels like it's going down. And now Weah is in a heap on the floor here. I didn't see what happened. I don't know if he took a shot to the midsection or what exactly happened, but he went down hard. Jeremiah Weah, the 6'2 senior. They're helping him to his feet here. I don't know if he just took a shot. I couldn't tell. He's kind of holding the back of his head now. Was it to his head or mid? I really can't tell. His mouth, really not sure. Nose. Walking off on his own power, obviously, so that's a good sign. Hopefully it's just something that hurts now, but he'll, shake off in due time. So getting back to it, certainly not the guy you want out of this game right now if you're Piedmont. I'll say that, because he provides an energy and athleticism that is at least close to matching what Carl Albert provides pretty much almost from every guy on the floor. So we'll see if he can get back in there, but for now they go back to it. 4.5 to play in this first half, 23-6 Carl Albert. Here's Sidness back in the game. He's another guy they got to get going if you're Piedmont, especially with Weah off the floor. Here's Height. He'll give it up to McConnell. Left side to Kennedy. Walker Kennedy double teamed. He hands it off again to Sidness. Guarded by Ryan Reynolds. Goes to his left. Now he'll back it out. Hand off. Trying to find somewhere to go with it. That was Hainrahar. Now Height. You got a lot of bench players in right now. Height will drive. Floater. That was a good look, but he just didn't rattle it home. And as we cross the midway point of the second quarter, we just have not seen Piedmont feel comfortable offensively. Casey Baker flying down. Wild shot didn't go. Mott the rebound, though. Put back, no, but he's fouled. And Jaden Mott will head to the free throw line in the Rose State charity stripe to shoot a pair. First foul called against McConnell. 14th foul on Piedmont, only 2 on Carl Albert. We saw that in the girls' game, too. It's the same crew, obviously, as Mott misses the first one. This officiating crew generally likes to let the teams play, at least based off tonight, which I'm okay with. Keep the games free-flowing. Nobody likes to see, a free throw shooting contest, generally speaking. Mott misses them both. That's one of those things that Carl Albert, they're really good, obviously, number one, and certainly a team that plans to try to win a championship this year. It's one thing that maybe would worry you a little bit if you're Coach Price is some of the free throw shooting has been a little spotty in the games I've seen, and I've seen the Titans. I think this is 4 times now, maybe 5. Have to do some quick math, but that's been a little spotty in the times I've seen him. That's not a goaltend. That was a good clean block there. Mott and Baker both in on that to deny Hainrahar. Now that's a nitpick, the free throw shooting, because Carl Albert otherwise is a team without a lot of holes, if any. But that would be the one thing. You get into a heavy hitter game down later, trying to salt the game away down late with the pressure of the state tournament. When you get there, you want to feel good about your free throws. As Hopkins, a turnaround shot. He's got 13, Quincy Hopkins, more than half his team's points. He's having a great first half, certainly in position for that triple elite player of the game right now, as we have 2:50 to play in the half. Here's Sidness trying to get some room. He'll give it out to Height. Height spin move down the lane, right-hand layup attempt, no good. Rebound ripped down by Hopkins again. He's everywhere right now. Ahead to Hutch Russell. Euro step to the rim. Kick out. What a find. Baker 3. Good. Didn't go. I wanted to do it. I was all teed up, but it didn't go. It was a good ball movement, but Baker couldn't quite knock it down. So Piedmont dodged the bullet. Other way, Height lost it. Feeds off to Sidness, and he misses from right at the rim. Boy, that kind of tells you how this first half has gone for Piedmont. Maybe your best player, one of your best players at the very least, right at the rim, can't hit it. Russell 3 doesn't go. Good rebound there with Mott kind of backing down on him. As we hit the final 2 minutes of the first half. To the rim, and contact. We got whistles here. Hainrahar drew the contact. Let's see if they're giving him foul shots or not. Actually, it's an offensive foul. My mistake. I didn't see the signal. So it's an offensive foul on Hainrahar. That's his first, 15th foul. And just, boy, Piedmont offensively, they've done some better things in this second quarter defensively. A lot better. Carl Albert only has 7 points in this quarter, but defensively, just completely suffocating the Wildcats right now. And adjustments can be made, second half certainly, but discouraging if you're Coach Jackson and the Wildcats, certainly what you've seen in this first half on the offensive side. England shot doesn't go. Mott the rebound, 6'7", get off me, put it in. Just unfair. Just unfair. As a guy who's not overly tall myself, somebody does something like that. Just unfair. 27-6 Titans. 1:22 to play in the first half. Nice move here. Height has it blocked. Mott with an absolute rejection. Poked away from behind here as Piedmont trying to start something. We have a whistle. I think it's a foul. Wildcats into the game. That's Jordan Caldwell. He's a 6-foot sophomore, number 23. Just came in for the first time. Made an immediate impact. Foul here called on the Titans. That's Mott. He picked up his first. There's a hair over a minute to play in the first half. 27-6. Carl Aber, as you can tell, if you just flipped in on. Defense, the story right now for the Titans. Ahead to Sidness. Nice move and a finish. Goes through Hopkins and puts that one down. Makes it 27-8 as we hit the final minute of the quarter. We'll see how slowly the Titans want to play this. Or if they want to just go ahead and go. Turn on a shot. Go ahead and go is the option. England didn't go. Mott went for the rebound and lost his footing. Wildcats start the break. Here's Sidness the other direction. Feeds it off to Hainrahar. He's guarded by Casey Baker as we hit the final half minute of the first half. Sidness underneath. McConnell poked away. That was nicely done by Reed DeQuazy. Start the break for the Titans. Baker up and under. No good. Another good job by Piedmont getting back. Their defense has been much, much better in this second quarter. It has. Offense just hasn't quite found it. Here's Sidness. Left side as we hit the final 10 seconds. McConnell backing down his man DeQuazy. Turnaround. Oh, boy, he went right through. Oh, but he missed it at the rim. And Piedmont just had far too many of those. You got to capitalize on those. England now with a shot here at the buzzer from way deep. It'll come up short. And that is the end of the first half. It's 27-8 in favor of the Titans. It was 18-2 at the end of the first. So that second quarter was only 9-6. Not a lot of offense to be found in that second frame, but if you're Carl Aber, you lead by 20. That's okay. You can kind of have status quo, and you're going to be fine. Big lead for the Titans at the end of the first half. What kind of adjustments can Coach Jackson and Piedmont make at the break to try and find some more offense? Defense picked it up. Offense needs to join them. We'll see what they can do in the second half here in just a little bit. 27-8 Titans at the end of the first half. Second half coming up in, just as you see there, a little over 9 minutes from now here on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
When I'm flying, I put my helmet on, my visor down, my mask up. You don't know who I am. Whether I'm African American, Asian American, Hispanic, white, male or female. You just know I'm an American Airman kicking your butt. I'm General C.Q. Brown Jr. Come join us.
We come from different backgrounds, with diverse interests and unique learning styles. Finding classes that fit your individual needs isn't a challenge at Cameron University. A small campus and dedicated faculty ensures there's always someone close by to guide you on your journey. Your success is our success. Your education is our mission. At Cameron University, you're not a number, you're part of the family.
Sidelined by surgery, illness, injury? Valor Physical Therapy can help. At Valor PT, our skilled therapists create a rehabilitation program individualized for you, with education and encouragement each step of the way. Whether it's sports or the activities of life, let Valor get you back in the game. Start now at 405-265-6449. No referral needed. Mention Oklahoma Sports Network and get a free t-shirt at your first appointment.
When it comes to your home, you need someone that you can trust to keep it safe and protected for you and your family.
Vesta Foundation Solutions is your local, family-owned company that has helped many homeowners fix and protect their homes.
Our engineered solutions can take care of all of your foundation repair, basement waterproofing, concrete leveling, and dirt crawl space repair needs.
We take pride in getting the job done right, and you'll always be protected with up to a 75-year warranty.
Contact us today for a free estimate.
We fight the battles no one hears about.
We drop into the middle of firefights to rescue others.
And act as one-man air traffic control towers.
We're the ones who go before all others. Join the fight.
Back here with you in the OSN Game of the Week. We're just a little less than a minute away from getting the second half started here between the Carl Albert Titans and the Piedmont Wildcats here. Josh Calloway with you. Ileana Berryhill working the camera for us tonight. Do want to again remind you our next Game of the Week broadcast will be with you next Tuesday night. We're going to have both ends of the Putnam City West Choctaw doubleheader. That's number 3 PC West girls against number 8 Choctaw girls, and number 12 versus number 5. On the boys' front, girls tips at 6, boys to follow at 7:30. Jordan Ray and I will have the call of those ball games. Looking forward to it. Never been to Choctaw before for the Game of the Week. Never featured PC West either, so it's going to be interesting to have both those teams on. Breaking new ground for us next Tuesday night. We did that with Piedmont earlier this year. It was a great experience. Hopefully for more of the same next Tuesday. Now, again, weather could be a factor when it comes to that ball game next Tuesday if you haven't looked at the forecast. So if that game gets moved or whatever, just keep up with us, Oklahoma Sports Network on Facebook, at OK Sportsnet on Twitter, myself out on Twitter, at Josh M. Calloway, and that'll let you know where we're headed, if we're still doing the game when it gets moved, or if they just outright cancel it, which is, I guess, also theoretically a possibility, obviously with a regular season matchup. So we'll let you know how that goes, but for now, that's the plan. Look forward to getting to Choctaw next Tuesday for our next Game of the Week broadcast here on OSN. As for this one, we're back to it. Second half action. Carl Albert, a big 27-8 lead, and that's going to help. Clackham's Jaden Mott rips a 3-ball. That's one way to start the second half. And if you're trying to leave no doubt or make a team not feel that they can mount a comeback, that's a good way to start. As a Bobby Lewis 3-ball makes it 30-8 Titans here in the early stages of this second half. And, the Titans who lost in the championship of the Titan Classic last week to PC North haven't played since. They've had almost a week off, which is a long time in a high school basketball season. You don't usually go that long without playing as Piedmont turns it over. They've had a week to think about it, to stew about it. They had 2 good looks at a game winner late in that game against PC North. Didn't hit them. Panthers win. Titans lose on their home floor, just their 3rd loss of the season. They've had a week to think about this game, to get back out there and play. And they've responded. They've played great tonight, and especially on the defensive end, Piedmont has just had absolutely no answers. England for 3. That won't fall. Rebound pulled in by Weah, who, good to see him get back out there after he took that shot. I couldn't tell if it was in the face or where exactly it was. He came off in some discomfort, obviously, right there at the end of that second quarter. But he's back out there to start the 3rd. Good to see. As the Wildcats, they need them. They need everything they can get right now, especially on this end. Just 8 points as we start the second half. Weah underneath, and he is fouled, and we'll head to the line. That'll help. So Jeremiah Weah, the senior, will get some free throws up. Meanwhile, we'll thank our 3rd quarter sponsors. See him up in the corner there. Dynamic Health Clinic. Located in Harrah, Oklahoma. At Dynamic Health Clinic, Dr. Kaufman specializes in athletic injuries and is able to get athletes back in action very quickly using a system called Advanced Muscle Integration. Play better, recover faster at Dynamic Health Clinic. And they were a big sponsor of the Titan Classic as well, which was a slam dunk event for us. We had 24 games for you in 3 days. Jordan and I, Kirk Norman, Sean Thurman calling the action all weekend long here. A myriad of camera ops and producers, including Ileana Berryhill's working this game for us tonight. She did games, so it was a loaded week. It was all hands on deck to put that many games on in a 3-day span, but we did it on the Oklahoma Sports Network. And it was a great event, capped off with a couple of great championship games that Jordan and I had to call for last Saturday night. And, early on, I look forward to, I'm not in any rush to do it again because it was It was a lot, like Jordan joked about on the end of the broadcast of the night. But look forward to having that event, hopefully again, back on our air next year here at the scene of the crime, the Titan Classic at the Carl Albert Fieldhouse. Foul there was called, by the way, on Baker. It's his first. Second early team foul on the Titans. Wheat to the rim, left-hand shot no good. Tried to get his own miss. He did, but stick back no good. Mott the rebound, and the Titans are racing back down. Here's Hopkins at 13 first-half points. He's off to a very good start. Certainly well-positioned for that triple elite player of the game when we get there. England on the left side. He's guarded by Caldwell. He'll go down the baseline. England to the rim. Couldn't get it to fall. Couldn't tell if that slipped out of his hand or hit the rim. Kind of came off funny. Nevertheless, it's a fast break, and Reynolds there to break it up and stay at this end with the Wildcats, who just have not had any offensive success really at all in this game. I mean, 8 points in over 18 minutes. Three ball doesn't go. They haven't hit a single three. Defensively, they've really done all right. I mean, it's not bad. It's not, as England drives won't go. You give up 30 right now to the Titans. They had, 27 and a half. You take that any day against Carl Albert. As that's a really nice move to the rim and finish for Jordan Caldwell, a 6-foot sophomore getting in and getting some run. We didn't see him a whole lot when we did Piedmont the first time, but he's getting some action this time, and he's doing some nice things. That was his first bucket. Makes it 30-10. 5:10 to play. Here's Mott. That won't go as the Wildcats start back the other way. Can they find a run in them? Because here's the thing, 20 points is a lot, but that can go quickly if a team gets hot. We see teams go on big 10, 12-0 runs all the time. As we have a whistle and a tie-up, it looks like. Air will keep at this end. We see teams go on runs all the time. The problem here for Piedmont is they only have 10 points on the board at this point, so it's hard to imagine a big run like that when you haven't had the offensive success sustained throughout the game. But there's still time. You never know. Start getting hit, hot from deep. Those leads can shrink quickly. We'll see what happens here the rest of the way. Caldwell's with it for Piedmont. They do have the last bucket. Can they try to build on it and do some sort of a run here? That's not going to help. Sidden is tripped up. Ball's on the deck. Turnover. Titans have it racing the other way. Baker, right side to England. He'll pull up for three. Jordan England clackums. Holy moly. Jordan England is making a run at Hopkins. He's looked really good in this game tonight, especially here in the latter stages with that jumper, that smooth lefty jumper. He puts another one down there for three. Titans by 23. Sidney to the rim, couldn't get it. Rebound pulled in by the 6'7", Jaden Mott. Pass ahead to England. England will back it out. Underneath, Mott's got it just outside the block, guarded by McConnell. He'll take it right out into the rim, and he's fouled. And so Jaden Mott will get a trip to the Rose State charity stripe. Titans seemingly well on their way here as they have a 23-point lead. Wildcats, like we mentioned, 12-5 on the season. Good team. But Carl Albert, they take good teams and chew them up and spit them out every day. It's a different level with the Titans. It's just apparent. As first free throw, no good for Mott. And again, I mentioned earlier, that's something that the Titans are going to maybe want to button up. It may not matter because they're just so good, but the free throw line is one area that's a little concerning, I think, because that one's no good as well. So an empty trip there. Long pass ahead, out, somehow got behind, and Hopkins, he sent that thing. I'm surprised there's not a dent in the wall. That was an absolute swat. As Hayes White for Piedmont, a freshman, got behind the D, thought he was going to have an easy lay-in, and Quincy Hopkins said, no thank you. Now it's a foul, so White will have to earn at the line, but good grief. White's first free throw wasn't the prettiest, but it goes in. Kind of wedgied in. Makes it 33-11. Second one on the way is also good. So good job by the freshman there, knocking down his free throws. As England races ahead, and he lost it. Turnover. Scooped up here. This is the freshman, Hudson Height. Height to the rim. He got big 6'7", Jaden Mott. Disrupts it. Ball's loose and ends up in the hands of Hopkins. Boy, nothing comes easy against this Titans team as big Jaden Mott getting down there, disrupting. You got to think if you're Height, a freshman, you're just thinking, man, come on, just let me put this thing, let me get an easy one. No such thing against Carl Albert. It's unbelievable. Here's Hopkins driving the lane to the rim. Tough finish. Oh, man. Quincy Hopkins, have a night, my man. Puts that one home. The junior, just everywhere. He's got 15. It's 35-12. Here's Height. Gives it up to McConnell in the corner. White to the top. Here's Sidness for three. That's not going to fall. Rebound, though, pulled in by Height. Put back attempt. Tried to spin it home. No good. England the rebound. And Colton Sidness, that's one of the bigger killers tonight. He just has not gotten going. As Hopkins for three. Clackums! Quincy Hopkins is having a huge game. He's got 18 on the Bobby Lewis three-ball. Keep in mind, his team's got 38. So everybody else has got 20. Meanwhile, Baker, another turnover here forced. He starts to break. He'll slow it up. Hand off Ryan Reynolds for three. Back iron, no. And so an empty trip there for the Titans. Boy, Quincy Hopkins. And that's what's so crazy about this Titans team is, you know, the games I've done. I think this is I want to say this is the 5th time I've done the Titans this year. As we have a timeout here as White's going to have to change his jersey. Maybe got blood, or I'm not sure exactly what that is. As in the game for Piedmont for the first time was Connor Beard, number 5. I was going to say, this is, I think, the 5th time I've done the Titans this year on OSN, and it's been kind of different guys. I mean, sometimes it's Jordan England. It's been Ryan Reynolds before who gets hot and kind of leads the way. Tonight it's Hopkins. Certainly Jaden Mock can take over games. They have so many guys who on any given night can be the reason you lose. Right now it's Quincy Hopkins, and that's why they're so good. We haven't even seen Tayshaun James tonight, who I mentioned right at the top, is usually the 6th man, first guy off the bench. As that mid-range jumper for England is good. He has been real slick tonight. You haven't even seen Tayshaun James tonight, Iowa State football commit. He hasn't even entered the game tonight. I don't see him on the bench, so I don't think he's active this evening. He's normally their first guy off the bench. England a block from behind. Jaden Hopkins, the younger brother of Quincy, is a freshman. He's a really talented guard. Haven't seen him tonight either. I mean, it just shows you how deep they can go if they want. As Piedmont will retain possession here, as Coach Brandon Jackson just slips in a timeout there to retain the possession. As 13-4, Carl Albert certainly in command here in this 3rd quarter. Just a 30-seconder, so we'll stick here. Again, in action tonight on OSN is Midwest City Del City. That game's kind of mirroring us. I think they're a little bit behind us, so they're, I think, just early part of the 3rd quarter, maybe just coming out of halftime or so there. So you want to get the second screen up while you still hang out with us. Recommend it. That's a good one tonight. Always fun when the Mid-Del schools get together. Very comparable. Obviously, we did Newcastle Tuttle. I talked about it then, the Tri-City rivalries with Newcastle, Tuttle, and Blanchard. Very similar with the Mid-Del schools. Carl Albert, Midwest City, Del City. Any combination of those 3 getting together is always good. We had Carl Albert, Midwest City, Jordan and I did back in December, and Midwest City, Del City are in action tonight. And anytime you get the chance to watch big Brandon Garrison for Del City, Oklahoma State commit, I recommend it. He's a lot of fun to watch. And so they're battling the Bombers right now over on the Del City and Midwest City channels if you want to get a second screen. I'm not telling you to leave us. Don't do that. We're hanging out. We're having a good time here in the game of the week. But if you want to do that, I wouldn't, I would recommend it. Probably a good finish over there. As it's 40-12 here, and a turnover by the Wildcats. Our first game was a doozy, if you missed it. Piedmont Girls pulling off the upset on the road, 45-44, with a last-second turnover, fast break bucket for our triple lead player of the game, who was Jillian Crawford. She had a tremendous night. Big statement win for Piedmont on the road. Carl Albert's making a statement of their own tonight. I mean, they are chewing up and spitting out a top 10 team in Piedmont. Good squad. If you hadn't seen Piedmont before, you might be thinking, this is a good team. And they're just not able to hang right now with what the Titans are doing. That 3-ball doesn't go. Rebound goes out of bounds. They're going to say it's Piedmont ball. Back in comes the freshman Hayes White. Got cleaned up for whatever was the issue there. I don't know if he was bleeding. I'm not really sure what that was, but he's back in now. Final minute of the 3rd quarter. Here's Beard racing down the lane, and it's a foul. And so to the Rose State Charity Stripe goes number 5, Connor Beard, trying to get into the score column. Second foul called against Jordan England. Remember, he picked up that first one just a little over a minute in, and I said, watch out for that maybe being an issue. No, I just got a second one nearly at the end of the 3rd. Just one of those nights for Carl Albert where there hasn't been a lot to complain about if you're Coach Price. And there's always ways to improve, obviously, ways to get better. And the Titans will certainly do that as you're starting to see maybe some starters coming out for the last time. We'll see as Reynolds and Baker come out for the Titans. Back in comes DeQuazy and Hutch Russell. But especially defensively tonight, Carl Albert, Not much to complain about. Split the trip for Beard. Makes it 40-13. I've done the math that way. This is my 5th time doing Carl Albert because we had them against Midwest City. Then we had each of their Titan Classic games where they hammered McAllister, hammered Norman, and then lost in overtime to Putnam City North. But this is a darn good team. We're going to have them a lot in the postseason, too. As White, oh, boy. Look at the freshman making moves. Hayes White. Nice move to the rim and finish. We're going to have a lot of Titans in the postseason as Jordan Ray really likes to get every Mid-Dell postseason game on our air if he can manage it. And so I imagine we'll shoot for that again. Midwest City, Dell City as well, of course. Along with some other postseason action. Newcastle, another OSN school, is putting together a really good season. There's a bump and a foul here. Second foul against the Wildcats with 6 seconds to go in the third. We'll have you covered for lots of postseason basketball all the way through into the state championship games, state tournament. We partner with NFHS to bring you lots of postseason. It's a blast. It's a lot, especially last year with snow affecting the schedule, but it's a blast. Final moments here. Turnaround shot for Hopkins, who come up short. That'll end the third quarter. Titans well in front, 40-15, 1 quarter left to play here in the OSN Game of the Week. Take a timeout, come back, we'll wrap things up in the fourth quarter next, right here on the Oklahoma Sports Network.
Sidelined by surgery, illness, injury? Valor Physical Therapy can help. At Valor PT, our skilled therapists create a rehabilitation program individualized for you, with education and encouragement each step of the way. Whether it's sports or the activities of life, let Valor get you back in the game. Start now at 405-265-6449. No referral needed. Mention Oklahoma Sports Network and get a free t-shirt at your first appointment.
Back at Carl Albert Fieldhouse, Josh Calloway with you. Just about ready to wrap this one up as we get to the fourth quarter. Certainly well in control are the Carl Albert Titans on their home floor. As we get ready to finish the game, I want to go ahead and thank our final quarter sponsor of the night, which is La Herencia Grill. For the best Mexican food in the Mid-Dell area, check them out. La Herencia Grill. It's where, whether it's dine-in, carry-out, using Grubhub or catering, just eat their delicious food. Doesn't matter how you get it. 6811 Southeast 15th Street, right next to Jimmy's Egg. Give them a call if you'd like. 405-931-3154. La Herencia Mexican Grill. As we start the fourth and final frame of the evening, looks like Jade Mott's going to come back in. So Coach Price getting a little extra work for his starters, actually, as a few of them are back in. Inkland, of course, running point. Here's Hopkins again to the rim. Couldn't get it, but he is fouled. So Quincy Hopkins can get up to the 20-point plateau if he can knock down these free throws. As we just get the fourth quarter started. Next game of the week, Choctaw Putnam City West next Tuesday night from Choctaw as that free throw rattles out for Hopkins. Breaking new ground on OSN Game of the Week. It's been that very tough struggle for us this year, Jordan and I, of trying to get to some new places, but also wanting to, hit some of the places that we enjoyed going to last year, as Hopkins missed them both. Now, technically, we have not returned to one same place yet in the Game of the Week. Piedmont we hadn't been to last year. Newcastle we featured last year, but we weren't there for the Game of the Week last year. It was when they were at Dale. And Carl Albert last year, I don't think was ever actually featured on a Game of the Week per se. Obviously, we carry lots of Titans basketball anyway. Like I said, this is my 5th time doing them. First time that's been technically a part of the Game of the Week series. So technically we haven't been anywhere we've been last year, if you want to get semantics on it. As we get a turnover here, England loses it. Caldwell scoops it for the Wildcats starting the break here. To the rim, Caldwell can't get it. Mott, that's a goaltend, yeah. As he hit the backboard, so count the basket. Some nice things with Jordan Caldwell, the sophomore, getting in and getting some run here. Did some nice things, he really has. Makes it 40-17. Like I said, it'll be Choctaw next Tuesday against PC West. If that game gets moved, we're going to still attempt to broadcast it. If it gets called altogether, then obviously nothing we can do about that. As Hopkins to the rim puts it in, and out to 20 points, Quincy Hopkins. What a big night for him. If that game does not end up happening, I think we may try to make it up to you guys, and if 3-ball for Caldwell doesn't go, with maybe a double game of the week. By that I mean a Tuesday and a Friday edition the same week, which we've never done. Caldwell hits that jumper, makes it 42-19. We may try to do that the following week. And then that's the second to last week of the regular season, if you can believe that, as England steps up and hits is that a long 2 or 3? It is a 3, so knock it down for England. It's a Bobby Lewis 3-ball. Makes it 45-19. So we'll see. My best advice as Hopkins races down and can't put it in, but he's fouled. My best advice, keep up with the Oklahoma Sports Network Facebook page, the website, of course, oklahomasportsnet.com. You see it right there on the score bug. And on Twitter as well, myself on Twitter, at Josh M. Calloway. Those are the best places to make sure that you know what we're doing, what games we're broadcasting, because obviously, especially in basketball season, it varies a little bit from night to night. Some nights we have 4 or 5 games on. Other nights, Tuesdays or Fridays, we only have 1 or 2. As Hopkins missed the first free throw. Again, I'm being a dead horse. The free throw shooting is going to be the one thing that Carl Albert's going to want to try and button up before the stretch run here. As the calendar gets ready to shift to February, those kind of things start to get magnified. As both are missed, you're going to eventually, even as good as Carl Albert is, you're going to eventually be in a tight game in a must-win spot. It's going to happen. Nobody just blows out their entire way to a title. It doesn't happen. As we're going to turn over here to Kwesi to the rim. He went for the dunk, but the freshman White getting back broke that up. Another turnover here for us. Russell now has it with 6 minutes left. Hutch Russell down the floor, kick out in the corner. England for 3 is going to come up short. Rebound, Mott, stick back attempt, no. But we got whistles and fouls again. Hard to believe, though, just a couple of weeks left in the regular season. Just a few weeks. We have next week, the following week, and then the week after. That's it. Just 3 weeks left until the postseason gets going. Should have some postseason assignments be getting announced here soon. Usually comes out right in the early parts of February, which February 1st is next Wednesday. It's Mott, another missed free throw here. Early part of next Wednesday, so, it's getting to that time. And the right teams want to be playing their best ball. And right now, if you're Piedmont, you've had a good season. Also, you're well above 500, but you're now obviously staring down the barrel here. You're well on your way to your 3rd straight loss. So finding a way to kind of, right the ship a little bit over these next few weeks for Coach Brandon Jackson is going to be paramount. Obviously, you don't want to go into postseason kind of playing uneven ball. You want to have at least some semblance of momentum, as McConnell puts that one in, makes it 46-21. Some, good vibes at least going into the postseason. So we'll see what Piedmont can do moving forward, and we'll give you their schedule here coming up toward the end of the broadcast here, which we're getting that way. 5:23 left. Here's Mott at the top of the key. Bounce pass underneath to Hopkins. Back to Mott. To his left. He'll take a 3. Not going to go. Rebound pulled down. That's Preston Lee, a sophomore in for Piedmont. Both teams kind of starting to get some end of the bench guys in. McConnell will fire up a 3. Side of the rim, no good. Rebound fought for by Blaine Taylor, another guy in, a senior for the Wildcats. And Coach Price looks like he's about ready to clear the bench here, but I say that. You got a couple of the guys coming in are starters, Reynolds and Baker. We are going to get our first look, though, at LeBron Royal, number 23. He's just a freshman, as well as Jaden Hopkins, who I mentioned earlier, really talented freshman for this Carl Albert squad. Also, number 10, Steven Anderson, another freshman in for Carl Albert here as we hit the final 5 minutes to play from Carl Albert Fieldhouse. Titans well on their way to a 14-3 mark if they can avoid a collapse of historic proportions here. As a whistle and a foul. We'll go against the Titans. That's their 7th. First one charged against, it looks like it's on Royal. He just came in. The freshman picks up 1. So to the free throw line here for Piedmont goes Carson Hammond. He's a senior getting some work here. Missed the front of the 1-1. Both teams have cleared out a lot of benches. By the way, I didn't mention it, and I should have. at the very top of the broadcast before the girls' game. We had a bit of a delayed start tonight because the JV boys' game was an epic. Went to overtime. You don't see a lot of JV games go to overtime. Carl Albert winning that one in OT earlier. To the rim there. Oh, what a circus. Nice finish that was for Steven Anderson, the freshman. You know, it's just silly when they got freshmen coming to make moves like that. 48-21, 4:15 left. But an epic JV game earlier that saw Carl Albert win in OT. As that ball's knocked out of bounds, it'll be Titans ball. I was joking about it. You know, I mean, I can't really say I've ever seen a JV game go to OT. Normally, when games are tied, it seems to me, unless I'm just misremembering, I've done a lot of games now. I would say I see the end of the JV games always while waiting for the varsity games to start. I think they usually just call it a tie. But they decided, let's play another 2 minutes. They did a 2-minute overtime. I don't think I'd ever seen that. So an epic JV battle earlier. Crowd was into it. It was actually pretty sweet. In the corner, here's Anderson. Final half quarter. That move, didn't finish it. Rebound loose. Royal comes up with it. Goes 1-on-5. He somehow got out of that. Gives it out to Baker. Casey Baker and Ryan Reynolds. A little two-man game here. The two starters. Kick out in the corner to Hopkins. Hopkins, mid-range jumper. Yep. I told you this kid can play. The freshman. You saw him get some run in the Titan Classic. I think part of that was probably Coach Price trying to keep his guys as fresh as possible, playing 3 games in 3 days. But, boy, he can hang at the varsity level now. Not to mention what he's going to be like down the road. You see what his brother's doing tonight, 20 points. A couple more Titans getting ready to get in. We have 33, Brandon Rogers. He's a freshman about to check in. Also have 31. I actually don't have a 31 listed on my roster, so I'll have to listen closely. All right, so 31 is Xavier Garcia. We mentioned that right at the top. He wore 20 in the Titan Classic, but he's rocking 31 tonight. And he plays some solid minutes for Coach Price in the Titan Classic. So, again, that just shows you how absurdly deep this team is. They don't need to go this deep, certainly, obviously, but you may want to at times in the postseason as Garcia takes to the rim and finishes that one. But my goodness, I mean, it's an embarrassment of riches in this place as the Titans, who are just a fixture in the state tournament, certainly would anticipate being there again. As a turnover forced, pass ahead here into the backcourt. Garcia trying to run it down. It'll go out of bounds and be Piedmont ball. And look, Piedmont's got a solid team. If this is your first impression of Piedmont, you may be leaving thinking, they're not quite up to snuff with the top end of 5A, and I don't think that you come into this place, Carl Albert Fieldhouse, and you walk out with a big loss. That happens to just about almost every team that comes in here. I mean, if you're with us in the Titan Classic, Norman, top 10 6A team, they left with their tail between their legs from this place, what Carl Albert did to them. Carl Albert is a different breed. Piedmont's a good team. If things break right, it's not impossible for Piedmont to be one of the 8 teams left standing in the state tournament. I truly believe that. Because we saw what they did a few weeks ago. And keep in mind, if you remember, if you're with us for that broadcast that night, Piedmont played Tuttle once earlier in the regular season and lost. And they came back the second time and beat them pretty comfortably the second time around. So, it's a team that's improving. They're on a little skid right now, but this Wildcats team has got talent, and I don't think it's certainly out of the question that Piedmont has got a chance. Again, if the bracket breaks right, if they do things the way they can, they're number 10 right now. They can be one of the 8 teams left standing. It's not impossible. Another sub for Carl Albert, number 30, is Todd James. He's a 5'9 sophomore getting in there. As at the line, Hopkins knocked down the second one, makes it a 30-point lead, 53-23. 2:20 to go. In for Piedmont is number 1, Garrett Hahn. He's a junior, getting out there and getting some action. Both teams have been able to play a lot of guys here down the stretch with the game obviously well in hand. Hahn to the rim. Nice move and a finish. How do you like that? Nicely done by the 6'1 junior Garrett Hahn as we hit the final 2 minutes to play from Midwest City. James hands it off to Hopkins. Crossover move poked away. Nicely done. Active hands there for Preston Lee. He'll start to break all the way to the rim, and he's blocked. Oh, they're going to say not cleanly, I guess. Xavier Garcia got down. That looked good to me, but I'm much further from the court than the official is. We're pretty high here at the Carl Albert Fieldhouse. They're going to say that was a foul. So to the line goes number 21, Preston Lee, to the Rose State charity stripe. As Lee knocks down the first one. 53-26. Garcia out. Back in comes LeBron Royal. Lee knocks down the second one. A 4-0 spurt for Piedmont. Makes it 53-27. As obviously just academic now. Putting the finishing touches on this one. Pass here to Hopkins in the corner. Now with it is Anderson. Gives it to James down the lane. James to the rim. Couldn't quite finish that. Rebound pulled in by McConnell. Down the lane for Piedmont. Kick on the corner. Hahn for three. Clackums. I'll tell you what, this junior, Garrett Hahn, not the biggest kid. Come on, they're making an impact. Got a layup and hits that three. Makes it 53-30. It's actually a 7-0 run for Piedmont. I think that's their best run of the night. In fact, I'm certain it is. Makes it 53-30. As we hit the final minute. Next up for Piedmont, they'll be at Noble. Excuse me, they have Guthrie coming here to them at the Wildcats Athletic Center. There's a nice finish there by Hopkins. Makes it 55-30. They'll be hosting Guthrie next Tuesday night. Guthrie, number 19, currently in 5A, as we have whistles and a foul here with 39 seconds left. So that'll be a top 20 matchup next Tuesday night at the Wildcats Athletic Center. As for the Titans, they'll be the ones taking on Noble. They'll head to Noble next Tuesday. The Noble Bears, number 15 in 5A. So another ranked team for the Titans to try to devour, like they so often do. That's what's coming up next for both of those two teams. We'll be headed to Choctaw next Tuesday, weather permitting. Free throw good there. Makes it 56-30. 39 seconds left. Titans will move to 14-3 on the season. Piedmont will slip down to 12-6. And a three-game skid for the Wildcats. They'll be trying to turn that around against Guthrie. Three ball there is good for Preston Lee. Strong finish for Piedmont there. These guys off the bench making the most of their minutes. They scored 12 points in the last half quarter or so, it feels like. 56-33. Final moments here. Another sub in there for Carl Albert. Brandon Rogers, who had it, he gives it up. This is driving the lane Garcia, and he puts it in. And Xavier Garcia looks like he'll have the final bucket of the night. And that's it for us. Carl Albert wins it 58-33. A dominant display here tonight, really from the start. It was 18-2 at the end of the first quarter. Just dominant stuff from Carl Albert. Our Triple Elite Player of the Game, I'll make sure to get that in there. I think it's easy. Quincy Hopkins, 20 points tonight. He was disruptive on defense as well. Guy was absolutely everywhere. He was tremendous tonight. Triple Elite, find world-class designs and hot new styles at Triple Elite. 405-610-5200. Our Player of the Game sponsor tonight, and that goes without question to Mr. Quincy Hopkins. A great game for him. He scored 20 as the Titans rout the Wildcats 58-33 in our OSN Game of the Week. We thank you so much for being with us tonight. It was a fun night here at Carl Albert Fieldhouse. Certainly a place we're very familiar with. Just spent an eternity here for the Titan Classic last week. We decided we wanted just a little bit more, I guess, as we had a double dip tonight. A great girls game. Not as competitive, obviously, here in Game 2, but anytime you get to watch the Titans do their thing, it's kind of a treat. So Carl Albert, number one team in 5A, do what they do. They dominate their way to their 14th win. They'll be taking on Noble up next. Piedmont will deal with Guthrie next Tuesday. As for us, like I said earlier, one last reminder, next Tuesday, the next game of the week, we'll have it for you. It's Choctaw and Putnam City West next Tuesday night. The Yellow Jackets hosting PC West, number 3 team in 6A girls, PC West are, number 12 in boys, against number 8 Choctaw girls, number 5 Choctaw boys. So kind of one of those rare situations where you're going to have teams who are trying to pull off the upset. It'll flip. Choctaw will be the team that's the underdog in the first game. that'll flip around for the boys game. Looking forward to that on Tuesday. Hopefully the weather holds up for us, and Jordan and I are able to get over there to Choctaw for the very first time on the OSN Game of the Week. That's next Tuesday, January 31st, 6 o'clock tip for the girls, boys to follow shortly thereafter at 7:30. All right, that's it for us, folks. We thank you so much for tuning in. However you found us, we'll be back next Tuesday, like I said, for the Game of the Week on all the usual places, Facebook, YouTube, Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, Apple TV, of course our website, oksportsnet.com, and the app in the iOS Apple Store, all that good stuff. Lots of places to find this. However you did, we're glad you did, and hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll be back with you next Tuesday night. Jordan and I will be for the next edition of the OSN Game of the Week. That's it for us. For Ileana Berryhill, who worked the camera for us, I'm Josh Calloway signing off from Carl Albert Fieldhouse. We'll see you next Tuesday from Choctaw for the Yellow Jackets and PC West battling it out in the Game of the Week to wrap up the month of January. That's it. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next Tuesday from Choctaw.